Have you ever had, shall we say, horizontal refreshment with a woman from the continent of Europe?
Yes, indeed, I have.
You?
Yes.
From
yes.
where?
Germany.
Germany? Oh, you said the other night you didn't think German women were very attractive.
Oh, no, I didn't say that.
No, you did?
Yeah, well, this is on a beach in Mallorca. So you can't really see what they look like at that time of the night.
On a beach?
After a
in
16-hour bladderation
was she
session.
face down or something?
No, but I had double vision at the time.
This is TalkSport. We are the two mics, and I'm delighted to say, coming to the end of a very tumultuous week, not just for us, but for many other people as well. It's time to say very good morning to Mr. Mike Porky Parry. Very good morning to Mr. Parry.
Well, Mike, look, a very good morning to you as well.
Yes.
So let's get something sorted out before the show gets underway.
Okay.
Because I don't want you to be in a mood.
Rules of the engagement scenario.
Well, I just don't want you to feel moody about something that was beyond my control.
Yes,
It wasn't
all right.
my fault,
Tell
okay?
me what it was.
So I go upstairs, and, as per usual, I get myself some chocolate.
You got yourself some chocolate?
Yes.
Okay.
And I get you some chocolate. I always do, don't I?
Sometimes you do, yeah.
No, I always do.
I mean, you don't always do it. I mean,
Well,
it's just
excuse me.
occasionally you get me chocolate.
Hang on.
Yeah.
You have never bought me any chocolate.
That's true.
Right.
I've
So
never-
if I
no.
go upstairs because I fancy a bit of chocolate,
Yes.
I always get you some because I'm a good colleague. You agree with that?
I would say you've bought me many bars of chocolate
Thank
in
you.
the past.
Thank you.
But it's not on a regular basis,
Right.
is what I'm saying.
Right, thank you. So tonight we get in and we find we have a new dispensing machine.
Oh, yeah.
What do you call it? Snacks and drinks and
Well, a
crisps
vending
and-
machine you would
a
call it,
vending
wouldn't you?
machine. A vending machine,
Yeah.
that's right. I used to have a vending machine empire, actually, but I'll tell you about
Did
that
you?
later. Yeah. No.
A vending machine empire?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
How can you used to have a vending machine empire? Why would you not still have it?
Oh, well, because I had
Did you manage to make a mess of that as well, did you?
No. It was good, but I had other things to do.
I see.
Now, so I got up tonight, right, and I'm armed only with two £1 coins.
Right.
And each bar of chocolate costs 60p.
I was going to say, in this day and age,
Yeah.
50p doesn't get you much, does it?
Doesn't get you much. So I put my first pound in,
Yeah.
which was an old pound,
Yeah?
and I get myself a,
What did you get?
the one in the blue. What's it called?
A boost?
A boost bar. Thank you very
A
much
boost.
indeed.
Quite chewy, that, isn't it?
It's quite chewy.
I
I
quite like a boost, actually.
I like a boost, yeah. But I normally get you a Whisper bar, okay?
A Whisper's good,
So then
yeah.
I take my second pound,
Yeah.
and this is amazing. Cause
So you took the 40p out change, presumably?
Well, I'll leave it in the well. Okay,
well.
it tumbles through. Well. So then I have
Right.
my second coin, which is a new £1 coin.
Very
with
shiny. They're
12
good, aren't they?
inches, very shiny.
You see, apparently, despite everything that everyone said, that there are now apparently already counterfeit versions of it going around.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
And this is a new machine, so I never gave it a second thought when I put it in.
Yes.
But then you hear that dreaded, clunk, 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 bang, and it's gone straight through and landed in the well.
Yes.
With the 40p.
So it's not registered at all.
I thought, well, it's just, just what? So I take it out.
Maybe it's a fake one.
Well, it could be. So I take it out, put it back in again slowly. I did that 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And no joy.
Yeah.
So I'm not then able to buy you a 60p bar of Whisper, right?
Well, you didn't have any other coins?
Well, you see, this is where you've got your mood on. You
Yeah.
said to me, and I said, no, I don't have any coins. So you said, well, did you have your cards with you?
Yeah, cards, because it takes...
it's a touch card thing.
It takes contactless.
Well, let me tell you then exactly my thought process.
Yeah.
I did, and I reached for a card, but then guess what? Just as I was about to put the card onto the
Yes.
contact thing,
Right.
there's a sign there which says bye-bye card, and then it says buy
Buy card.
B-U-Y.
Oh, I see.
buy,
Sorry, I thought you meant buy
idiot.
card as in we've eaten it.
No. Bye-bye card, baby, goodbye. No.
Yeah.
So, bye-bye card. So,
Right.
so I was about to strike this card
Right.
onto the plate
Yes.
until I saw the message below.
Which said?
8% surcharge on purchase
Well, so what?
with card.
Listen, if you're buying a colleague a bar of chocolate, 8% is nothing.
I refuse.
It's a mere nothing.
I'm sorry.
Well, hang on, 8% of what? 60 pence?
Yes.
Even you can work that out.
That
10% would be 6p.
6p, so it would be 1/5
That'd be
less than that. It's 5p.
5 pence?
Yeah.
So for 5 pence,
Yeah.
you refuse to buy me a bar of chocolate?
It's the principle.
That's outrageous.
No, it's the principle.
'Cause I quite like a bar of chocolate,
I know you
actually.
do, and now you're all, you're all
Because
nouty.
I like to, wait until the first break.
Yeah,
And eat it with my tea.
Yeah, but I'm sorry.
currently being made.
I'm sorry, but on a point of principle, there was no way I was going to, give them 8%.
Why didn't you just ask me? Because I've got a bucket load of change in my pocket.
Why didn't you just
Look,
go up the
look at
stairs
this,
and...
look. I've got loads of change here.
Well, why didn't you just go up the stairs and do it yourself then?
Because I'm too busy
Fat
preparing
and
to do
idle
the
individual.
show.
He doesn't like a
very
flight of stairs.
I'm too busy preparing to do the show.
Oh, you really?
Yeah.
Oh, like I don't do any preparation for the show
you
at
do.
all.
No, you do.
Yeah,
But, your
yeah.
preparation is less important than mine.
No, it's not. Mine's
is.
much more important.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't be
Have
a
you
show.
got any more updates on the hedgerows? 'Cause that was very popular yesterday.
It was very
People
popular
have been
indeed.
tweeting about it all day.
They have been,
saying,
yeah, exactly.
I was going to vote for you as podcast of the year.
Yes.
Until you did that rubbish about the hedgerows.
Well, you see, if they can't appreciate that the world's greatest expert...
What was his name? Rex Cooper or something?
Something like that. World's greatest expert on hedgerows.
Hooper of the hedge.
Saved this country from agricultural decline.
Yes.
Anyway, the point of my story is, now you've got a mood on because you didn't get your bar of chocolate. Nothing to do with me.
I haven't got a mood on.
One of these days...
concerned...
Yeah.
Concerned that you would eschew buying me something for the sake of 5 pence.
Well, it's the principle. Listen, put it this way. If all the money I have, if the wealth that I've garnered over working for the last 45 years, because I started working when I was about 12, right?
Yeah.
As a kid.
And you've never stopped since, have you?
I have never stopped. If 8% of that disappeared because people said, to give you the privilege of buying something from us, we're going to charge you an extra 8%.
Yeah.
I'd have hardly any money.
Yeah, but, people do it all the time.
Well, they're not doing it to me.
Right.
They don't do it to me all the time, so I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, but hang on. You're the same man who walks into a pub and buys a pint of beer, and in order to keep yourself sweet with the guy behind the bar, you hand him a £20 tip. You're the same guy.
You're the same
guy. Explain to us how you send out a taxi late at night when you need to have, your Pinot Grigio stocks replenished.
Yes.
And you pay something like £100 to a taxi driver who would normally charge you 15 to go to a shop and back.
No, this is all completely...
So why is 5 pence suddenly a problem?
This is all completely out of sync. That has happened on the odd occasion when bladderation overload has kicked in.
Yeah, but the point is you're not short of a few bob, are you?
Well, yes, but I'm not going to be ripped off. I'm not going to be ripped off for it.
Yeah, but you give people ludicrous amounts of money to do very normal things. When your guy washes your car, which would normally be about £10, you give him 40.
No, I didn't. I gave him 22.
Well, 22. It's more than 100% over the top.
I promise you, I've never given a barman a £20 tip just for giving me a drink.
I've seen you doing it.
No,
I have.
I've never given a barman a £20 tip.
I've seen you doing it.
Where?
Yeah, I saw you do it in Dr. Inks across the road.
Dr. Inks?
Dr. Inks across the road, yes.
It must have been late at night.
It wasn't particularly late at night. You were just trying to show off.
What I used to do is I used to go to this Indian restaurant and I used to give the guy who'd serve me, I did give him a £20 tip, I have to admit. And then I felt guilty because his mate started giving me...
you gave them all £20.
Yeah, I did, yeah. His mate started giving me the evil eye.
So for all these people that you've never met before in your life...
He served me one of the courses.
And will never see again. You're quite happy to dole out, loads and loads of dosh.
Nevertheless...
But for me, you won't spend an extra 5 pence.
I think it's a little
shocking thing.
A little off of you to suddenly be offhand with me because I refuse to give in to the commercial pressure of having to pay an extra 8% for a bar of chocolate in a machine when it won't even take British currency, which is basically what the situation is.
Well, it won't take the new currency.
Well, which is British currency.
I've got even more bad news for you, right?
What's that?
I went to sort out my new pension yesterday. If you run a company in this country, you are now obliged by the government to set up a pension scheme for everyone who works for you, even if you only are one person working for yourself.
Exactly, you've got to have your own pension.
And guess what? I've now received a flurry of because my accountant's firm has now set it up for me, right? I've now started to receive a flurry of emails from the so-called pensions regulators.
Oh yeah, those
telling
people,
me that I can
wonderful
do this,
people,
I can do that. What I need to do is this, and I have to pay them this, and it's an absolute and utter red tape nightmare.
When I set mine up, within a few days, I got this advisory saying that because I'm minimalising it because I've got other pensions and things. Saying that I could immediately draw down £1.56 from my initial payment into my pension. £1.56.
Well, you could use that to buy me some chocolate.
Tax free.
Yeah, well done.
Tax free.
I'm getting this from Richard Hardy, right? Who calls himself the Employer Services Manager.
Yeah.
And Richard says we provide online support and answers to frequently asked questions at nestpensions.org.
Yeah.
If you're having difficulty using the website, you can contact our technical support team. I don't want a pension.
No.
All right. I don't want you to send me emails. I don't want to give you any money.
Yeah.
I'd like you just to bugger off, please. But they won't do it.
And did you notice what they slipped out in the covers, of general election sort of coverage yesterday? They're now conceding that small businessmen, which you and I are classified as, if we...
Right. Some are smaller than others.
Small, yeah, exactly. Will not have to, after all, send in 5 tax returns a year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
They were going to... That idiot, George Osborne...
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I mean... Maybe you're not an idiot, but I think you're an idiot.
Don't worry, he's stepping down as an MP.
I know. Yeah.
So he's no longer involved in the process.
Yeah. Maybe you're not classified as an idiot, but I think, it's my opinion, my personal opinion.
Well, that's no way to talk about the new editor of the Evening Standard.
And that's true. Actually, I might need a job one day. Mr. Osborne, formerly, I may have said things about you which I did not mean. I used to think you were... No, I've defended you against idiocy.
Yes.
I think you're a good guy. But what I was about to say was, I thought that you plan to introduce paying, tax returns 5 times
well, luckily
a year.
he's not doing that anymore.
Was a little excessive.
Yes.
But I'm glad to say that you obviously have reconsidered this and now
now you're going to be the editor of a newspaper.
The editor of a newspaper is a good thing to be.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, I believe in the freedom of the press. Good on you, sir.
Yeah, very well done.
Yeah.
Now, coming up a little bit later in the show, Sandra Lee is going to be with us from Australia. Lots of big stories to talk about down there, including an Anzac Day celebration, which is a little bit, shall we say, racy.
I couldn't
people can't believe it, mate.
I could not believe it.
Also, of course, we'll be talking about the Manchester derby from last night. Porky doesn't think Fellaini actually headbutted anyone.
No, I didn't.
I've been looking at it over about 12 or 13 times. There's no doubt in my mind that Fellaini was at it and has clearly lost the plot. Meanwhile, of course, there's lots of other stuff going on as well. This is TalkSport. This is TalkSport. We are the two mics. There is, of course, a Porky quiz coming up a little bit later on in honour of Anthony Joshua's big fight against Vladimir Klitschko at Wembley in front of 90,000 people, by the way, and a huge pay-per-view a ticket as well. It's being called the biggest fight in the history of the United Kingdom. We've got a quiz on heavyweights from 1945 on.
That's right.
Here's one from Matt who says, this explains why Porky is on the cusp of millionairedom. He's a tight-fisted cheapskate.
What?
You know, that's his view of after your story about, not wishing to spend 5p. Here's another one.
That's very harsh.
Your preparation is crucial, MG. If not for that, we'd have a whole show dictated by Porky on hedges. Says Pascal.
I'm getting a bit of unfair stick on that one.
It's true, yeah, it is.
Some people realise what an important issue agriculture in this country is.
Well, Paul says this, the secret's out, Porky's 57. 45 plus 2, he just said. I don't remember you saying that.
No, well, I said that I've been working for 45 years and I started work when I was 12.
Oh, I see.
On my newspaper round.
Oh, okay.
Somebody put the figures together.
Oh, right.
I will concede they are sort of rough figures. Rough figures, yeah.
Here's one from Nicholas who says, Porky had a 60p request declined by the bank then. Blimey, his tenants must be very concerned.
Yeah, well, they would be, yeah. Well,
now, here's a good one.
Somebody's left an old van in my street.
Really?
Oh, it's a disgrace.
What sort of old van?
I mean, so old, it's unbelievable.
What, you mean like an old transit van?
It's an old transit. It's not like transit. I think it's a Renault or something. But it's a big van, right? It's a big van. And it suddenly appeared.
Right.
So, of course, I made the representations that you would make in a stockbroker belt type road.
Well, when you say representations, what did you do?
Well, I got somebody to get onto the person at the council who gets rid of these things,
Oh, okay.
right?
So you walked out, presumably, and had a look at the van.
Well, I saw the van, right?
What, from your Erie?
Yes, I did, yes,
Right, you spied it?
Yes, I did, yeah.
Well, did you not go down and check it out? Because that's what I would have done.
Well, it was there for a day, and I thought somebody... You immediately think somebody's parked it, but except it was parked awkwardly. It's like 2.5 feet from the curb, you know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. At the back, but not at the front, so I thought there's something really odd here.
Yeah.
And the other thing that led me to believe it probably wasn't a working van was that the back door was tied on with rope. yeah.
Well, they do see that from time to time.
Well, yeah, but it's such a big van, it's got a middle door halfway down.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of 1/3 open.
Oh, really?
And
do you think it may have been used in some kind of robbery?
Well, this
is
the point. So I got somebody to ring the council.
Right.
You're right, though. Maybe the police should have checked it out, except for the fact that there are already about 6 parking tickets on it. So I think it does come to the attention of those authorities.
I had the police round today, bizarrely.
Really?
But I'll tell you about that later.
Oh, okay, yeah. So, anyway, now this van is so knackered. This is what worries me, that because I rang the alarm bells, you know, and I have a bit of influence in the area, within a few hours... one of these pickup trucks turns up to tow it away.
Oh, to tow it away. Was it a police one? Because there are 2 kinds, aren't there?
Well, I'm not
sure. There's the police kind and there's the regular kind.
Well, this is a yellow one, right? And I think it was an independent contractor from the council.
Okay.
But you know what they do is they put the platform down at the back, then they get the wire off, they attach the wire, and then the pump starts turning the wire around, and it pulls the van onto the back, and then you take it away.
Well, they can do that only if they can put the van into neutral.
Well, I was about to say, this van is so knackered, it wouldn't move.
So I was going to say, did you have to get inside it to put it into neutral, no?
I don't think it was that. Do you know what I think it is?
What?
At least one of the tyres is flat.
Right.
And the others, I think, are, flattish, so to speak. And I just don't think they could move it on what was left of the tyres.
Right.
So they've got a big job. They have to get a crane or something to get rid of it.
But
they
should be able to lift it onto a pickup truck of some description.
You'd have thought so.
Yeah.
You'd have thought so.
So
but
it's still there then, as far as you know?
Still there when I came out tonight. And I'm saying to myself... the value of my property is diminished by at least 10%.
No, the value of your property is diminishing by the day.
Well, no, you've got
all sorts of reasons.
Some literally filthy, rusting, knackered,
your
broken down old van
has now become known as a dumping ground.
Well,
Did you not tell me that the next door building has already become like a fly tipper's paradise, including stuff that you dumped there.
Yes.
Because you didn't want to leave stuff to be taken away.
Yeah, I did, actually, yeah. But I don't feel any guilt about that because I know that's going to be levelled within a month because they're going to build a brand new block of apartments.
Actually, I've got a question to ask you about that.
I'm going to buy a couple.
You're going to buy a couple?
Well, probably,
Man of the people.
Or whatever, yeah, sure, yeah.
How much are they?
Oh... well, you wouldn't get one for under 350,000. Put it that way.
So you're willing to spend up to £800,000?
Well, no. I mean, I'm saying that generically.
Will you be obtaining a mortgage?
No. I'm saying this generically. I'm talking about always having an eye on property investment in the locality.
Yes, okay.
That's all.
You already live there, though.
Sorry?
You already live there.
Well, I might move into one if it's better than the one I live in now.
Oh, right. What's flog the one you've got?
No, I'd rent that out to somebody, because there is a need.
Just to add to the portfolio.
Here's
the question.
Yeah.
Now, I've got a really old television, right, which I need to throw out.
Is it a flat screen?
No, it's an really old, like, ancient thing.
Well, like a box thing?
Yeah, it's like a box, which I had when I moved into this place, right? It was there about 8 years ago, 9 years ago.
I mean, do you use it?
No,
you
not
don't?
at all. No.
So it's a bit of useless furniture?
It's like a bit of useless furniture. And
where do you hide this? In the corner of the room?
Well, I've had it sort of sitting at the bottom of a cupboard for the last, but I need to make some space.
How big is it?
It's about, I think the screen is about sort of 12, 13 inches.
So it's only what we used to call
a
portable telly.
Yeah, it's got a little handle on the top.
Yeah, right.
It's got a handle on the top.
Right.
And I need to get rid of it, right?
Yeah.
But I don't think I can just chuck it in the bin. I think I might need to take it somewhere because I know that if I was in Sussex, right, I would know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
I would take it to the town dump where they have a special place where you can put electrical goods.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
That's fine.
Well, don't you know if there's... Well, why don't you put it in your car and take it with you and next time you go to Sussex?
Well, because I don't want to take it all the way to Sussex.
Well, it seems easy.
I want to just chuck it out.
What's the alternative?
Well, I can either just put it in the, we've got these massive bins at the bottom of my sort of complex of apartments, right?
So you bury it in the bottom of one of them?
I could chuck it in there, but I think that would be unwise.
Well, wait, no, I'll tell you the way to do that. Yeah. Wait until the day of the bins being emptied, so they're completely empty, and then gently put it in on the bottom, and then all the rest of the rubbish will go on top of it.
No, but that's not the right thing to do, is it?
Well, they won't know. Then when
I'm not trying to do something surreptitiously.
No, you're not doing surreptitiously. What I'm saying is, when they pick the bin up and everything swishes into the cruncher van,
a big TV comes out.
It doesn't matter. It will get crunched up in that machine that eats all the rubbish.
No, but there's a reason why they ask you to recycle electrical goods in some other way.
I wouldn't worry about it. It sounds so old and knackered. It's no good to anybody.
I don't think it is any good to anybody, but you still have to put it somewhere special, I think.
Right.
The other alternative, I suppose, is to basically chuck it in the river.
Oh, no. I'm not doing that. You pollute it for fish.
Of course, I'm joking. I would not do that.
Well, I don't think you were joking. You look very serious to me.
No, I would not throw it in the river.
I've
lived by the river for 8 years. I've never thrown anything in the river. Ever.
I'm not sure about that.
I've never done it. I thought about throwing a couple of things in, but I never did.
I would put it in the old F space and take it to Sussex and dispose of it properly.
What do you mean the F pace?
F pace.
See,
right,
Anthony Joshua's got one now.
No,
picture of him. Yeah, he has.
He's probably got a lot of cars.
Yeah, no, he's got an F pace.
Yeah, all right. Well, he's probably got a lot of cars.
Why do you get so upset about it?
I don't get upset at all.
You are.
I don't get
Anyway,
upset
so the cops came round to me this morning, right? There was a knock on the door.
Yeah, right.
And I was asleep.
Yes.
I look, there's Gareth A. Davis on the television. I haven't seen him for a while.
Golly, he's not very photogenic, is
No,
he?
he is. No, he's looking well.
Yeah, okay,
he's looking very well.
Yeah.
A big knock on the door, right? About 11 o'clock this morning.
Okay.
And I was just half asleep, so I woke up, put my dressing gown on, went to the door.
Put your dressing gown on?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Very gentlemanly.
Well, I thought I should, But I always wonder whether at 11 o'clock in the morning people think, look, this is layabout.
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's rock star lifestyle, so it's okay.
I didn't go to sleep till like 6 o'clock.
No,
so,
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, the guy goes, I'm terribly sorry to bother you. It's the police, because I don't know, I'll open the door until I know who it is.
Well, can't you see through your peephole?
Yeah, you can.
Yes.
But sometimes people are pretending to be something they're not.
Well, okay.
I had that incident before. So, very short guy, tiny, really small.
Well, a midget policeman.
Well, he wasn't really a midget, that would be unkind.
Okay, yeah.
But very, very small.
Yeah.
Said he was from the Walworth Road Police Station, which is not that far away.
I've been in there, by the way.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
It's down off the borough High Street.
I know where it is, yeah.
Yeah, Elephant Castle. What were you doing in there? Did you get arrested?
No, I was going out with a girl who lived in a flat nearby. Whose window had been taken out and a burglar had gone in and taken her telly.
Oh, dear.
Yes.
Right.
So I had to get her some, what do they call, like...
a crime form to fill in?
No, the things you put inside windows which you can pull out and lock when you go out, like a grill.
Oh, yeah. So you had to get that from the police station?
I can get it from the police station, but if you... go and seek advice from the police, Well,
there's no point doing that.
No. You get a discount on instalments and all that. Yeah, it's true.
Discount?
Yeah. Yeah,
and it's such a cheapskate.
No. I
mean, you'll think nothing. You're spending $800,000 on two apartments.
No,
but you're looking for a police discount on some crappy, iron filings to put in the window.
Anyway,
so this guy said, "Terribly sorry to bother you."
Yeah.
I said, "Yeah, I was asleep actually." He said, "Yeah, I'm sorry to have woken you up." He said, "I'm just asking some questions about an incident." Yeah. And I said, "All right." I said, "What sort of incident are you talking about?"
You say, "I've been involved in quite a lot of incidents, actually."
Yeah. On the grounds of of legal advice, I refused to answer. I said, "What sort of incident are you talking about?" He said, "Well, it happened on Christmas Eve." Bear in mind, it's now April, right? Nearly the end of April.
Yeah.
He's asking about something that happened on Christmas Eve.
Okay, yeah.
I said, well, to be honest, I wasn't here on Christmas Eve. And he went, oh, well, in that case, you probably can't help me. I said, well, no, I probably can't.
Well, what is it, though?
He wouldn't tell me.
Really?
No. I said, well, what's... He said, oh, it's something that happened in the street. I said, well, do you need to tell me about it? He's like, no, I don't know. If you weren't here, then you weren't here. So I went, okay.
Well, how does he not know that you may have spoken to a neighbour since then who related some tale to you about the incident that took place?
Maybe he's not very good copper. I don't know.
Not very good copper, I'm telling you.
I mean, if he's been
quality
working...
of police in this country is going down.
If he's doing, a sort of, major investigation...
Yes.
6 or 7 months, well, certainly 5 months after the event, what's the point?
I've no idea.
Yeah. Anyway...
Doesn't make any sense to me.
We've got loads to do. We're going to talk to our friends, Mr. Will Gavin and Ollie Hunter, coming up a little bit later on. They're at the NFL Draft. They're watching it in Philadelphia, by the way.
I wouldn't mind being in Philadelphia, you know.
I'd rather be here than in Philadelphia. It was on with W.C. Field's grave.
Yeah, and isn't in that famous Southern Belle film, what was it called? With...
Southern Belle?
Yeah, the greatest film of all time, Scarlett O'Hara and all that.
Oh, Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind. Yeah. Didn't he say, frankly, my damn... frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. I'd rather be in Philadelphia, didn't he?
I don't know if he says I'd rather be in Philadelphia.
Yeah, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn.
Dear, I don't give a damn, but I don't know about the Philadelphia
Rather be in
bit.
Philadelphia.
We'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
This is Talk Sport. Talk Sport, we are the Two Mics. You can tweet us at the Two Mics, of course, and we've got lots more coming up. We're going to give you an update on what's going on in Pyongyang. And, of course, there's an interesting story, actually, on the front page of The Guardian about how some poor little village in South Korea has been transformed into a kind of missile base for the Americans.
That's right, yeah.
Some place which is once a retreat for amateur golfers. The Lot Seonggu Country Club is now in the hands of the most powerful military in the world and its South Korean allies.
Yes.
On land where dispirited golfers once cursed badly sliced drives, work is underway to rush into service a missile defence system able to locate and destroy North Korean missiles before they threaten South Korea.
Isn't that shocking?
So, I mean, if you're in that part of the world...
Well, I don't get over there very much, thank you, and don't intend to.
I think we should go.
Hey?
I think we should go.
Oh, yeah, sure, yeah.
South Coast Superman says, just place my vote for you in the Podcast Awards. There will be no competition. We should say that thank you to everyone who has voted in the Podcast Awards.
Yes.
I think the voting is open until tomorrow.
Yeah, it's 5 p.m. today.
Friday, yes.
Today, Friday, that's right, yeah, absolutely, yes.
So if you haven't done it yet, we'll put it out a couple more times.
We certainly will, but we really do appreciate your support. Thank you very much indeed.
We'd quite like to win it, just because we like winning things. Taxi Man says this, Mr. Parry's very sneaky and slick about throwing out the television.
Well, no, I'm not. What I'm saying is do it the proper way. Put it in the back of your car.
No, you said put it at the bottom of the bin so nobody would notice.
Oh, well, yeah, that's one way of doing it because it won't harm anybody. When it gets eaten up in the back of those huge lorries, what are they called? The garbage trucks.
Yeah, garbage trucks.
It won't cause any problems to anybody. I just think that's the easiest way to do it.
I got stuck behind one coming up Hatfields tonight, by the way. I don't know what it was collecting at this time of night. Yeah. Here's one from Fergal who says, Porky reminds me of Norris out of Coronation Street, sticks his nose into everything.
Who does?
Norris.
No, sorry. Who's he comparing Norris to?
You.
Who is?
The Fergal.
For what reason?
He says, well, because you're always sticking your nose into everything that goes on around your street.
Oh, hang on. Sorry, I object to some crook dumping this...
How do you know he's a crook?
Well, he's not a straight man, is he? And this knackered old van, which is despoiling the view in my street in Stockbroker Belt, Surrey, one of the most valuable pieces of real estate in the world.
Yeah.
And you think I'm sticking my nose in because I want it taken away?
Well, he's saying that, not me.
Well, perhaps Fergal likes the street he lives in, and it's littered with filthy old trucks and old tramps living in the back of them or something like that. Enjoy your environment,
Fergal. It seems to me the area that you're now living in has become a dumping ground for all kinds of things. I think you might want to move.
Oh, yeah, like what else?
No, well, you told me there's a fly tipping section just down the road.
I've told you that...
You used it yourself.
I've used it because I know it's going to be cleared soon.
Okay.
Very soon the bulldozers are moving in.
Really?
So are the...
But it must look horrendous at the moment.
What I call the peck machines to knock the building down.
The peck machines.
They used to have the swinging ball, didn't they? They don't have that
wrecking
anymore.
ball.
Last time you saw a wrecking ball was in an episode of The Sweeney.
Or a video for, what was it, Taylor Swift?
Was it? Yeah, okay.
On top of a wrecking ball?
Oh, I've no idea. And I have to say, it's not there anymore. It's the old back, and it goes in and it literally.
Sure, not imagining that.
No, it pecks the building to death. Believe me, and that's due soon, and so that'll clear the whole site. So there's no reason why you shouldn't take advantage of the facilities that are going to be there quite soon.
Mark says this. Frankly, my damn, I'm an absolute plank. You deserve a medal,
right,
I think he's saying to me.
Yes,
there's no mention of Philadelphia in that particular speech in Gone with the Wind, by the way.
Philadelphia Freedom.
Yeah, that's the song by... but you know, Philadelphia Freedom was actually the name of a tennis team. You know that, right?
I see. Is that why he wrote it?
When Elton John wrote the song, because they tried for a while at the
Yes.
beginning of, I suppose it must have been...
Yes.
70s, 80s, they tried to start sort of team tennis in America.
Yeah.
The idea being that the tennis tour was all very well,
right?
The ATP tour and all the rest of it. But what they wanted to do was try and glam it up a bit.
Right. Okay.
So they tried to get cities to have a tennis team.
Okay. Fine.
And the Philadelphia team.
Yeah.
Why are you saying this as if you don't care?
No, I do.
I can tell when you don't care because you adopt a certain tone.
No.
You want to move on very quickly.
No.
And Elton John was hired by the Philadelphia Freedom, who were the Philadelphia team,
I see,
to write a song about their tennis team.
Oh, I see, and
that's
why
I wrote Philadelphia Freedom is a song about the tennis team.
It's also a song about failure by the sound of it, because it never happened, yeah?
Well, the whole tennis thing never really took off. It's a bit like when they first started to do the Football League,
right?
Soccer-wise. It didn't work out. Because, I mean, people just don't want to go and watch team tennis.
Sorry, what do you mean the Football League didn't work out?
Well, when they started the North American Soccer League.
Oh, I see, in America.
Sure. And Rodney Marsh.
No, I totally agree
and George
with that.
Best.
Totally agree.
And all those people that went over and played. Dennis Stewart, I think, played.
Yes.
And it just kind of faded away.
Yes, no.
Yeah. So the problem was the same for the tennis.
Love will fade away.
Yeah. You're just going to sing your way through.
No.
Wrecking Ball was Miley Cyrus, says Andrew.
Oh, Miley Cyrus.
I remember she was naked, wasn't she?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know.
You don't expect me to keep up with all this sort of stuff.
I don't dwell on those sort of things, to be honest. Now, I need to tell you a few things about what's going on.
Yeah, what is going on?
Well, I don't think that Marianne Fellaini, who of course used to be an Everton player,
Marouane,
was necessarily guilty of a vicious attack on Aguero
tonight. Have you seen the picture
tonight.
on the back page of one of the tabloids?
Yeah, but what I think he was doing was he lowered his face to talk to him because Aguero is substantially shorter than Marianne Fellaini, and then Aguero, I think, took complete advantage of the boy by pushing his head into Fellaini's forehead and then fell to the ground screaming.
There is a bit of that.
There's quite a lot of that.
There is a problem with footballers. If you put your head towards another footballer, inevitably the person that you're putting your head towards will fall over and claim that he's been terribly poleaxed by your head.
Yeah.
Very bad idea by Fellaini, particularly since it was seconds after he'd just been given a yellow card for already chopping Aguero down.
And he'd gone chasing him because he felt aggrieved that he got a yellow card.
Exactly.
Yes, I agree with that.
So I have no sympathy for Fellaini.
I agree with a lot of that.
Who is a bit of a sort of head case, you have to say, don't you?
Fellaini?
Yeah.
He's erratic.
Well, he's a head case.
But he's wonderfully erratic, in my view. You know, he's
Nutter is the headline on the back page of one of the papers.
Well, I mean, that referring to the physical interaction between the two.
Right.
Now, I have come across some research evidence, which is going to help you enormously.
Oh, yeah.
For one of my science journals.
Okay.
Listen to this.
Go on.
Office air conditioning makes you fat.
Now, I saw something on this.
Now, this could be your problem.
What do you mean, my problem?
Well, you're always complaining about the air conditioning, and of course you have an excess weight problem.
I don't, one, have an excess weight problem, and two, I don't complain about the air conditioning. So apart from that, you're completely and utterly right in your assessment. What makes you think I complain about the air conditioning?
Well, you do all the time.
I don't.
You do. You say it's too hot and then it's too cold.
Well, if it's too hot,
this is because your metabolism, you see, is being wrecked by air conditioning.
No. If I say it's too hot, it's because the heat has been put on, right? If I say it's too cold, it's because the cold has been put on.
Okay. Well, it says here, experiencing a range of temperatures can have such a powerful effect on our health that officers should consider varying the climate with the seasons. Their suggestion comes as they published research showing that exposing diabetic people in particular to moderately low temperatures produces positive changes in their metabolism. Now, years ago, you and I talked about the situation in which we both grew up in homes without central heating.
Yes.
And it didn't do us any harm.
And there was no air conditioning either.
No air conditioning, no central heating. Yeah. That keeps you healthy and fit. Because if you live in a house that's permanently warm...
And sealed.
Absolutely right. There are a number of side effects. One of them is that your body never reacts to like cold on your skin, which is very good for you.
Yes.
And the second one is that you will ingest germs from a circulatory block of air, which never goes outside.
Yes.
Right?
Well, it's like living in a plane, isn't it?
Living in a plane.
Where basically you never have any fresh air.
Living in a box.
I have a window open at all times in any place that I'm living in. Yes. I never have lived in an air-conditioned cell, if you like.
That's right.
I mean, you've got your the place in Gosport. I think you're more likely to have, say, internal.
I can open the windows and the air comes in across the Portsmouth Harbour sea,
which is very nice air.
It is. It's very nice air indeed. It says here, nowadays in modern society, we are not forced to undertake physical activity. We are not exposed to a variation in temperature.
Yeah.
This research comes from Maastricht University.
Maastricht? Oh, very nice. I haven't heard that for a while.
That was where the original European treaty was signed.
Well, it used to be where you'd have correspondence, wasn't it? I remember when I worked as the foreign editor for the Express, we had a correspondent in Maastricht.
In Maastricht. I went to Maastricht.
He was useless, by the way.
I went to Maastricht once because the draw for the European Champions League was made there.
Yeah, I've never been there. Is it kind of on the Belgian-French border?
It's so remote that I had to get a plane which only had 6 seats and 2 propellers from somewhere like Amsterdam to get there.
Really?
It's very remote. Yeah.
It is remote.
Yeah, it is on the border somewhere. Yeah. But anyway, look, the guy at this university is one of the world's experts. His name is Wouter van Marken Lekkenbelt, and he's
say that again.
Wouter van Marken Lekkenbelt,
Lekkenbelt,
professor from Maastricht University. Says our body.
Lekkenbelt.
Yeah, Lekkenbelt. Yeah. With it's a strange name, isn't it? Our body was not evolved in such an environment, and now we get bodies that become obese, insulin insensitive, and in the end diabetic.
Yes,
it's partly because of the way we live, and it's not a healthy situation. So
it's
there you
not
go.
a healthy situation. No, I mean, funnily enough, my father, who you've often ridiculed on this programme, was one of those people who said that central heating was one of the worst things that had ever been invented.
Well, he could be right.
And he refused. At one point, actually, they asked to put central heating into his place in Hampstead.
Yes,
and he refused. He said, "I don't want it." He said it's going to create dust. It's going to create a false environment. I'd rather have... but unfortunately, the opposite side of that was that I used to get very cold in there because it was an old Victorian sort of manor house.
Ice on the inside of the windows. That's what I used to have.
Yeah.
In
we used to have that. We used to have that. I used to sleep with a hat on.
Well, I slept with mittens.
Yeah.
Definitely, I've slept with mittens
really?
on. Yeah. What I was going to say is, and of
they
course,
give you mittens to sleep with. Were they tied with the string as well?
No, you idiot. And let's point out that your father, of course, was not being asked to pay for the installation of this central heating because your father never bought a house.
No,
did
he didn't. No, he didn't
Lived
believe
in rented property all his life.
He believed that all property was theft.
Must have been some kind of a communist
or
something, was he?
He was. He was a trade union, massive trade unionist. Yeah.
I didn't know he was a Scottish comedy.
No,
I
he was. Yeah, when he came down from Scotland, he was very much the father of the chapel type from the print unions up in Scotland. Yeah. And he became quite sort of. Shall we say, communistic over the course of his youth.
Didn't stop him drinking copious amounts of free booze whenever he was in Manhattan, did it?
Not at all.
A lot of it bought by me.
No. A lot of it bought by you, much of it bought by me. He also didn't stop him from getting free airline tickets from me.
No, that's
or
right.
from me buying many of his paintings when he was penurious in his later stages of life.
And me buying his paintings.
Well, you bought one painting, which you've now put in the Egyptian doctor. Did you?
2.
Well, where's the other one?
They're both in the
Egyptian doctor's place.
Well, yeah. Why do you always refer to it as Egyptian?
Well, because you told me
what have you got against Egyptian doctors?
I've got nothing against them.
I think you insult them by saying, dismissively, the Egyptian doctor's place.
Well, because he is the Egyptian doctor.
There's nothing wrong with Egyptian doctors.
I'm not suggesting there is.
I think you are.
No. All I'm saying is that he determines for me where my dad's painting is.
Yes.
So when I think of where they are, I don't like to think of the fact that there's some Egyptian doctor that you've rented a place to.
Why?
Who stares at them all night.
What's? Sorry, I don't get this.
Well, because they should be in your house.
Supposing they were in a gallery and an Egyptian doctor walked past and looked at them, would you berate him and say, you're an Egyptian doctor, so push off, you're not looking at my dad's paintings? Would you?
A doctor. No, absolutely not.
I think you would.
No, I've got nothing against Egyptian doctors per se.
He's also an Egyptian child doctor, so I mean...
Child doctor?
Yeah, I mean, not
a genius.
No, I don't mean he looks after Egyptian children. I mean,
I thought you meant he was a child doctor. As in,
see, no. What I mean is, what's the word for a doctor who specialises in children? He's an Egyptian paediatrician.
Is he?
But I mean, not in Egypt. He works at St Heliers Hospital, I think.
St Heliers?
Yeah.
Where's that?
Carshalton. Where is it? I think it's in Carshalton, which is in Surrey. Yeah, I think he does. Yeah.
Egyptian paediatrician.
Yeah, that's right.
Where do you find these people?
Well, I don't find them, do I? They get them through a rental agency, you know?
I see, okay.
I get them checked out, though.
The Egyptian Doctors Rental Agency?
No, you fool, you idiot. I get them checked out to make sure,
by the way.
Make sure that I'm not going to be swindled out of my rent.
Yeah, well, he must have been there for a while now. Well, I want to make sure that he hasn't hopped off with the paintings, because they could be valuable, you know.
No, I doubt it.
I think they will be.
Doubt it.
They will be. Anyway, coming up, we're going to go check out what's going on in Philadelphia, because we'd rather be in Philadelphia than here, and that's where the NFL draft is going on. Will Gavin is coming up next.
Yeah.
Now, there was a time on this show where we carried this stuff live because it was so exciting, and It's not quite as exciting as it used to be. However, it is moved from New York City to Philadelphia. It used to be in Radio City Music Hall. They would do this. They've moved it this year to Philadelphia.
Right.
And we've got, of course, our two experts on the NFL. They are the hosts of the Gridiron podcast, and it is Will Gavin and Ollie Hunter who are watching it all for us. Guys, a very good morning to you. Welcome.
Good morning, gents.
Morning,
How are
gentlemen.
we?
Very well indeed. Good to hear from you, fellas. You're two of my favourite people here at TalkSport. I'm delighted. I'm delighted. You're looking after the big one.
It's a very short list, that, by the way.
Too kind, Borky. Too kind.
Okay.
And it's great we're talking about a sport you care so much about.
Indeed.
Well, every year I'm hoping that Porky's going to get more and more excited about it. He didn't get too excited last year about the Super Bowl, but it was pretty tremendous when you think about exactly what happened. I mean, just remind us all, guys, how dramatic the recovery was for the New England Patriots.
Well, previously, the record for a comeback in a Super Bowl was 10 points, whereas the New England Patriots came from 28-3 down with only a quarter and a half left of football. And genuinely, I've watched it back recently. There are 13 points during that time where they could have lost it, and everything went their way. Everything was played perfectly. One mistake in that time, and they would have lost. And so it was a comeback up there with, the great comebacks in football, United in the Champions League, or what we saw recently from Barcelona against PSG. It was that kind of level of comeback. It was incredible.
Now, we're still a good 5 months away from the start of the new season, right? So this is what we get when all the college guys are ready to be drafted into the main teams of the NFL. And the draft system works whereby the worst team gets the best picks. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. Brian Moore summed it up extremely well on his Twitter feed earlier today, where he said, for a country with such capitalistic values, it's a really socialist way of dealing with things.
It is
with their main pastime, the NFL. So the team that came last, that had the worst record, gets the first pick, therefore gets the first pick of the best college players that come out and are available.
Ollie, can I just interrupt there, please? Because I want to get this absolutely straight. Supposing the player they pick doesn't want to go to their team or their club or their city.
Well, very rarely happens. The most high profile was Eli Manning. I think he came into the league about 10 years ago, 11 years ago. He was picked by, the
San Diego Chargers?
San Diego Chargers, thank you, who are now the Los Angeles Chargers.
Right. Yeah.
And he decided, I don't want to do that. He gambled. And what he does is he loses out on a lot of money to be picked in the first round. And I think he dropped further down in the draft. Lost out on a lot of money, but in the end it worked out for him. He went to the New York Giants, and he's now a 2-time Super Bowl winner. So it worked out for him. It's very rare that they decide that they don't want to go to where they've been picked.
Right.
Now, a couple of names that I've got for you. I'm sure you're aware of them. One is a chicken-eating champion, an NFL prospect. He's from Britain, right? Although he's been at Texas A&M University for a while. Offensive lineman Jermaine Illuminor. What can you tell us about him?
Well, first of all, brilliant pronunciation, MG. That's the first thing to give you. Yeah, left tackle out of Texas A&M, born and raised in Chalk Farm, and
Chalk Farm. That's not far from my manor.
Well, there you go. And he played soccer, as our American friends would call it, followed by rugby as a youngster.
Right.
Found neither sport to be violent enough for him. That's his actual quote. And about the age of 14, 15, absolutely fell in love with American football. Convinced his parents, who had family out in New Jersey, to move out to the States for 2 years so he could try his hand at it at high school level. Became a walk-on, learnt the sport over a couple of years, went to what's called a junior college because he couldn't get a place at a big-name college. And then he spent 3 months emailing and writing to every single coach in the college system with tape of his, with his measurables, saying this is why you need to get me. And after he got a sniff from one college, suddenly everyone wanted him. Texas A&M are easily one of the biggest colleges in American football and offered him a really excellent opportunity. The guy who's gone number 1 overall today, a guy by the name of Myles Garrett, is on the defensive side of the ball and will have trained opposite Jermaine Illuminor week in, week out. Mm-hmm. And so this guy is, most of these kids train from the age of 6, 7, 8 years old, put the pads on as early as they can at 11 or 12 and have to learn the sport inside out. He's had to do it all from scratch over the space of 5 years. And the likelihood is we'll probably be picked tomorrow, maybe in the 3rd round, if not on Saturday in the 4th round. But he is the potential for a British player to really make an impact on the NFL.
And there's a couple of other names as well, but I'll tell you what I was astonished by, and people over here sometimes...
You're astonished, were you?
I was astonished by the amount of money. I was telling you about this, because ESPN, one of the biggest sports networks in the world, owned by Disney, fired a load of people yesterday, including some former NFL players, right? They pay something like $7 billion over the course of about 6 or 7 years to carry just the college football on television, which is an enormous amount of money, isn't it?
The amount of money involved in the NFL itself is absolutely staggering. I think the Dallas Cowboys are the most expensive franchise of football or sporting franchise in the world at over $4 billion. The amount of money involved even in the draft, MG, is extortionate. Myles Garrett, who went number 1, is due to get a $20 million signing bonus and a $30 million contract. If you compare that to the team that are picking 10th, whoever they pick, which is the Buffalo Bills, their 10th pick is only guaranteed $16 million and a $10 million signing bonus. So the importance of this draft and where you're picked, it really
still
does.
A lot of money. I mean, even Paul, if he went there as a kicker, I mean, he could be making $1 million plus a year.
Well, $1 million a game, I would hope.
And here's the thing: you talk about the college game. You've got to remember that college kids aren't paid to play. So all of that TV money that's going in is being fed right back into the system and right back into the colleges themselves. And you can see why they give so many of these guys the opportunity.
They're all driving around in Cadillac Escalades, aren't they?
Well, no, they're technically not allowed to take any kind of gifts as a college player. We should say that, and legally and all of that. But actually,
sounds like Amateur Athletics Association.
It is very much like that. And for a lot of these guys, the fact that they get themselves, a free ride through college in terms of tuition, in terms of, living and everything else, that's huge for them from their backgrounds and everything. So it's a real positive benefit. But for that tiny 1.5% who make it to the stage we're at today, there's a big, big payday coming their way.
And college football is so big out there.
It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's unbelievable.
Stadiums of 100. Well, Will and I went to one at a stadium of 108,000 people.
I know.
And that's insane amounts. You never get that for a university.
Well, I was about to say, take a guy like me who played for English grammar schools, you know what I mean? Can you imagine 108,000 people going into a stadium to see that level of sort of sport in this country?
Not unless they were under arrest.
Not under arrest, I mean, silly. What is fellas, what is the situation regarding the television rights to those games out there? Because we know that it's a pretty fierce war in this country, but limited because of the size of our country. But it must be a massive scramble every time those contracts come up every 3 years.
Well, for the NFL, it's pretty delineated at the moment, pretty obvious. ESPN pay by far the most money, and they get Monday Night Football for that right. And then you have CBS and Fox are the other two big ones. And actually, CBS have had Sunday Night Football and now Thursday Night Football for as long as those two have really existed. Yeah. And then Fox get their pick of the early games on a Sunday, and that genuinely hasn't changed. There's not had like a BT Sky situation we've had.
Right.
But the cost to someone like ESPN just to get Monday Night Football, so 17 games across the course of the season, plus a pick of playoff games, is in the billions over a 3-year deal.
Incredible.
And, for the sake of, 17 games, it's crazy.
And the NFL also has its own 24-hour TV news service, which carries games as well, which is available the world over. So there's an enormous amount of money involved in it.
Now, a couple more names to throw at you. I've got a text here from Ali on the M4. He says, what about Alex Jenkins, who's a UK-born player hoping to be in the NFL draft? And another one that I've discovered, London-born Yukon safety, Obi Melifonwu. What about these guys?
Another brilliant pronunciation. Obi Melifonwu, safety out of Yukon, born in Islington to Nigerian parents. And unlike Jermaine Illuminor, he actually moved to America at quite a young age, about 4 or 5 years old, moved to Grafton, Massachusetts, and was a kind of top-rated prospect all the way through his time in high school. I think he was a 5-star recruit going into college, which is obviously the highest rated you can be. So he has a really, really good opportunity. Alex Jenkins is an interesting one. A guy from Bath who, not a guy who's come through the college system in the same sort of way, did eventually go on and get involved in all the pro days and combine days out in San Antonio. They do these kind of smaller combines where they get all the players there to go and to train and to get themselves ready. The situation is that he went to the University of the Incarnate World, and that's not a high level of football. It's what they call Division 3 football. It's the equivalent of probably playing in the National League here. And so it's unlikely because of that he'll get drafted high. But there's a lot of talk about him being, once you get through the kind of 7 rounds, they can pick up anybody as a free agent. And so it's suspected he will get picked up and he will get an opportunity off the back of that. And, players who've been picked up as an undrafted free agent, Tony Romo, who played 12 years back for the Cowboys. Lots of great talent get picked up like that.
Okay, and just finally, very quickly, because we have about 20 seconds, any closer to a London team franchise opening up sometime soon?
Yes, I think 2022 would be the date I would put on it. And excitingly for Jags fans, they've just picked up a running back called Leonard Fournette, who is a great player. So if that's the team who are coming, they're coming with some talent.
Fantastic stuff, guys. Enjoy yourself.
Excellent.
Will
well
Gavin
done,
and Ollie Hunter,
well done, fellas.
the Jacksonville Jaguars we're talking about there. I'm going to show you a picture of a Jaguar with young Anthony Joshua right now. This is TalkSport. Now, we haven't got too many of these tonight, but I've got one from Moz. He says, Can you wish my partner Tracy Smith a happy birthday, please? And then he says, and I don't know whether you might have a view on this, horizontal refreshment would be the order of the day, I hope. And he lives in somewhere called Walton Ledale. I'm not sure where that is.
Walton Ledale?
Yeah, do you know where that is?
Sounds like some beautiful sort of a place in somewhere like Cumbria.
It does.
Northumberland.
Walton Ledale.
Durham.
Yeah. Or maybe sort of in, I don't know, Northamptonshire, perhaps? Around Rugby, that sort of area?
I'm gonna leave old Durham town.
Yeah.
Right, now then.
You're not going to wish her a happy birthday.
Who is it again?
Well, I've just told you. Now I have to go back to
Well,
it.
you've told me about Moz.
Yeah.
Right.
Moz is the guy who's asking for it. Tracy Smith
It's not the
is her
Moz
name.
we used to know about any chance.
Different Moz.
No, different Moz. Okay, yeah.
That's a different guy. Tracy Smith is her name.
Tracy Smith.
It's her
Tracy,
birthday.
Very happy birthday, my dear. Hope you have a long, fruitful and prosperous year and life.
Yes.
Yes.
And he doesn't say how old she's going to be. So.
Well, you don't talk about a woman's age because that's something which is reserved.
Indeed.
Yeah. Unless you're Nancy Delolia.
Or unless they wish to volunteer it.
Exactly. And then you're always 45.
Yes.
Okay?
Quite.
Yes, good.
Nicholas says this, they're coming, and your man for NFL is a Jags fan. Former head football trader at Coral, Nick Goff, knows the game inside out.
Right.
I don't know Nick Goff. Do you know Nick Goff?
Nick Goff, who's he?
Apparently, former Coral guy now knows all about NFL.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I don't actually, but I'm sure he's very good at what he does.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Now then, I want to talk to you about something you may suffer from.
Yeah, go on.
And in fact, a lot of people do suffer from it.
Right.
I may even suffer from it myself, but I don't think so, because I think my self-confidence is high enough.
Well, how would you not know if you suffered from something?
Well, it's a new syndrome that's been discovered by psychologists, and it's called imposter syndrome.
Imposter?
Yeah. What are you laughing at?
Well, you suffer from all sorts of imposter syndromes.
No, I don't.
Because you have so many different personalities.
No, I don't.
You know, is it going to be Porky, the multi-millionaire landowner? Or is it going to be Porky, the man of the people? Is it going to be Porky, the Evertonian? Is it going to be Porky, the guy who is, in fact, the friend to animals? Or is it going to be Porky, the man who fires electricity up a cat's jacksie?
Well, that was a long time ago, and that was only to keep it out of my garden.
Yes.
And it wasn't electricity, it was a...
You said it was a taser?
Well, it was a mini taser gun.
Taser.
But it was the flash of the spark that shooed the animal away, not a physical assault, okay?
All right.
Now, do you know what imposter syndrome is?
I don't know what it is. Do tell me.
Imposter syndrome is what happens when you sort of wake up one morning and wonder, how did I get here and how did I do this? How did I achieve things I've done in life? Eh?
Like that Talking Heads song.
What was that?
When you wake up in another part of the world and you think, why did I get here? This is not my beautiful wife. This is not my beautiful house.
Oh, you mean...
watching the day goes by and all that.
Back on the road to nowhere.
No, not the road to nowhere, no.
Yeah?
No, but it's a Talking Heads song.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But, I mean, this imposter syndrome syndrome has been identified as something that has been suffered by, who have people who've gone through it.
Yes.
Emma Watson.
Kate
Winslet.
Right.
Tina Fey.
Right.
Whoever she is.
Okay.
Cheryl Strayed.
Yeah. Don't know her.
I don't either. But, I mean, apparently a lot of these famous people, what happens is they suddenly have a crisis of confidence, look around themselves, wonder, why am I in the job I'm in?
Yeah.
How have I had the success I've had?
Yes.
Do I really deserve it? No, I don't. And then they suddenly collapse into a sea of lack of confidence and vulnerability. Yeah?
Well, I've never really suffered from a lack of confidence, luckily. I've been very fortunate in that perspective, and I suspect neither of you, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, you may have had it if at any time at all when you and I may have had one of those periods.
Yes.
It might have been when we'd been fired from some quite good job.
Maybe.
And maybe didn't have anything else on the horizon.
Yes, it could be.
But neither one of us have really had that for long.
No, not had it for long. But I have to say, what I've noticed in life is when the down periods come, as they do in everybody's life, I am not then as fearful of life not being, as good as I'd like it to be. And I've, and then when things get better again, and then you are enjoying a more fruitful period.
Yeah.
I am more fearful of it going wrong.
So you're more worried about you worry more when things are good.
Yes.
Than you do when they're bad.
I do.
See, that's quite a strange phenomenon.
No, it's not.
It is.
Because when things are bad, you think to yourself, well, I've got a lot more to lose, really, so I don't mind if I lose it. When things are good and you've got an awful lot to lose, that's when it could be critical to make sure you don't.
So this then feeds into what you've often told me, which is that you can never really be happy. You don't like to be happy because you think if you're happy, somehow you're not prepared for what might come next.
Well, what I've said is, that
comfortable.
Anybody who walks around beaming with smiles all the time and, and puts on the front of, hey, I'm Happy Jim, or something like that, you know what I mean?
Jim?
Just for an expression.
Just pick a name out.
Yeah, just pick a name.
Could be Bob.
Bob or anything like that.
Yeah.
And anybody who's that happy, then, in my view, is not mindful of the things do go wrong in life, and life is life.
Yeah, but I think there's not a difference between the people who are sort of fake happy and people who are genuine. I mean, I'm genuinely quite a happy guy. I get irritable and I get grumpy, and I sometimes even get angry. But overall, I'm quite a happy person.
Yeah, I won't allow myself to get to that sort of level because that's a false plane, and you drop your guard against the things that can go wrong in life. Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the trouble
constantly
is,
vigilant.
I remember having these conversations with people when I was a lot younger.
Yes.
And somebody once said to me in the newspaper business, "You must have a 5-year plan." And I said, "Well, that's nonsense because having a 5-year plan only means that you will become disappointed when your 5-year plan doesn't come to fruition. And actually,
I totally agree.
Another 5-year plan might come to fruition, which is better. So just go with the flow. And if somebody fires you from a job, you find another way around.
Yes.
If somebody promotes you into a job that you don't think you can do, you do your best to do it. Maybe you move around. The point is that you're constantly a moving target.
Yes.
And so to have a 5-year plan and expect it to work is crazy.
You can't have a 5-year plan if you do our sort of job because things can change from day to day.
Exactly.
I agree with you. But what I like to say to myself is, if it all disappeared tomorrow, would I be able to survive on a level that would make me not regret anything I'd done in my previous life, if you see what I mean?
I mean, if you lost all of your worldly goods, shall we say, including all the safety nets that you've got, and you basically didn't really have any money, you'd still be able to make a living, wouldn't you?
No, it would be Beachy Head then.
Really?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, no, it'd have to be, because, you see, when you've got imposter syndrome, that's
why would you go off Beachy Head?
Well,
I would never see, if I ever got to the point where you had to say, it's all, I can't do it anymore, I can't face the world anymore, I'm going to have to take my own life. I would never throw myself a Beachy Head.
Well, I'm not saying that, am I? I'm not saying that.
You just said it.
No, I said that as a sort of an apocryphal reference to...
So you wouldn't actually throw yourself a Beachy Head?
Well, I don't know.
Rubbish.
I'd go and have a look, actually, and make my mind up when I got there. That would be the answer. But, no, what I'm saying is... You
pass an awful lot of signs for the Samaritans on the way
Yeah, you
up.
do, I think, don't you? That's right, yeah.
No, I was there not that long ago.
Which is a bit sad, really, isn't it?
It is sad.
But, now, you see, the thing is, you get to imposter syndrome, you can just about hold things together with imposter syndrome, but then it can move one on to what Dave Stewart suffered from.
Oh, that was Paradise Syndrome.
Paradise Syndrome.
Well, that's different altogether.
No, it's not. Paradise Syndrome is when you've got absolutely everything in life, and not only do you say, how did I get here? What would happen if I lost all this? and, you glory in how well your life has worked out.
Yeah.
But you then have the self-doubt about what can I do next?
No, but he's got more in common, I would say, with you, who he can't be happy. Because he should be happy.
Yeah.
Dave Stewart's a guy that has immense wealth, incredibly creative guy.
Yes.
Had very great numbers of different successes musically.
Yes.
With the Eurythmics and then on his own.
Yeah.
Had many, I suppose, beautiful girlfriends, great relationships.
Yes.
Got some kids. Why would he be unhappy?
I don't know. But
people would say the same to you. You've got pretty much all the things you've ever wanted. You're not bothered about not having a wife and children. You're very happy to live on your own. You've got a number of properties that you lord yourself over. You've got all the things.
I don't. You make out that I'm, some sort of irresponsible capitalist.
That's
not
what I'm saying. No, I'm not. No, when did I say irresponsible? What I'm saying is you should be very happy. You've got all the things you want.
No.
You've got a portfolio of property, shall we say.
If I was happy, it would be a conceit. It would be a conceit in saying, ho, 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 I'm better than other people.
No,
ho,
I don't
ho,
think
ho,
so.
I've beaten the system.
No, I don't think so.
Ho, ho, I've got what I want in life.
No, I don't agree.
And I'm nowhere near that. I am constantly examining the meaning of life.
There's nothing wrong with being happy, okay?
Yes.
You should. I mean, if I was your psychotherapist, which I'm not, I would say to you, look, there's nothing wrong with being happy. You should not feel guilty about being happy. The only reason you're guilty about it is because you've somehow been imbued with a guilt system which you believe doesn't make you deserve anything.
Well, I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that some people who achieve everything they want in life then do things like take drugs and maybe take excess amounts of drink and all that, because when you've had so many highs through success, where do you get your next highs from?
Yeah.
You see, this is the question you never thought of, isn't it?
I've thought of many of those things, but as I say, I'm a very contented person. I'm not constantly looking for highs. I'm not constantly looking for lows. I'm not constantly looking for things to disappoint me. I'm just looking for life as it is. And funnily enough, having kids, for me anyway, and I'm not saying it makes me a better person than you, having kids is a great leveller because you realise that an awful lot of everything else doesn't really matter. And if your children are healthy and if your children are happy, then that really pretty much is all you need.
Yeah, I would say that's a pretty good definition of it.
Have you seen a picture of Marlene Klass in the sun, by the way?
Well, it must have been photoshopped, doesn't it?
I don't think so.
Well, it shows her figure, right?
Yeah.
As you would talk about a woman's figure.
Yeah.
And it is extraordinary, isn't it?
Well, it's not that extraordinary because I've met Marlene Klass and that's kind of what she looks like. But I haven't seen her, obviously, without any clothes on. But we'll continue this conversation and a bit of talking heads.
Here, Saucy Snap online.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
Yes.
But minutes after taking it, she deleted it.
Yes.
Swift substitution left many of fans disappointed yesterday. But it's such an extraordinarily perfect womanly figure.
Yeah.
I didn't realise it. You think it's absolutely genuine?
I would say so.
Okay.
I would say so.
All right.
This is Talk Sport.
Yeah.
Sandra Lee's going to join us very shortly. Then, of course, it's the
Lovely.
Porky Quiz, and it's on a boxing, heavyweight boxing to be precise, since 1945.
That's right.
Now, I've got this message from Bill, who's a guy who's a friend of ours, and he wants us to do a little shout-out. He says, I know we don't do it very often, but he says, I want to wish my paramour and saviour, Lizzie Stevenson, a happy 39th birthday, and tell her, please, I can't wait to see her later on today.
Okay, that's Lizzie.
Lizzie Stevenson.
Paramour to Bill.
To Bill, yes.
I want to say, Lizzie, a very, very happy birthday.
Bad luck, by the way.
Have a long, fruitful and joyous life, and don't worry about the things in life that... what's the word I'm looking for?
Well, the slings and arrows are outrageous
fortune. Slings and arrows are outrageous fortune. Or the blot on the
Bill's
copybook of your life.
Bill
of course
is a great guy.
Of course he is.
I mean, talk
Only
about
having a laugh.
talk about dealing with life in general and dealing with problems and everything else. It's what we all deal with.
Of course it is.
And you try and make the best of it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Listen, have you ever come across anybody who's had a nut allergy?
A nut? Funnily enough, yes.
Right.
When I was very young,
Yes.
well, not very young, but when I was a teenager, I went out with a girl when I was about 16, 17.
Right.
And I took her to Jack Straw's Castle.
Yeah, I know
which
it.
you might know at the top of Hampstead Heath.
Yeah, of course I do.
Because
Yeah.
I worked
Lovely
in
pub,
because I worked in the bakery up in Hampstead.
Yes.
We knew everybody, right?
Yes.
So there was never a question, because I only looked about 12. There was never a question of not being served.
Right.
And they had a cocktail bar up at the top of Jack Straw's Castle.
Right.
Which was, I always thought was rather a swish place to take a young lady.
Indeed.
And I took this girl up there, and we got some peanuts from the bar. And we ordered a couple. I used to get these things called Heat on the Heath, I think. It was Pernod, lemon juice, and some stupid drink that you drink when you're 16. You know?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Anyway, we're sitting there talking, and suddenly I looked at her, and her mouth had swollen to the ridiculous proportions. Her
Really?
lips suddenly started swelling like, when you see some of these women that have had plastic surgery.
Yes.
And they look ridiculous.
Yes.
And I was like, "You're all right." And she started talking. She said, "I don't know." I said, "What's going on?" And she said, I think the peanuts are making my lips swell up.
Well, hang on. Didn't she know about this before?
I don't think she did, no.
How old is she? About 17?
16, 17, yeah.
Good God.
And I don't think she'd ever come across this before, right?
So what did you do?
I said, well, I think we better go.
Yeah.
We better take you home.
Yes.
So I had to take her home. I mean, basically, we had to...
You should have taken to a doctor, didn't you? It can kill you, these nut allergies.
No, I didn't take her to a doctor. No, I didn't care. I was like, I finished the drinks.
You didn't care?
Well,
you didn't care that a young lady you'd taken out for a drink in your care...
I didn't care.
...had a potentially fatal attack.
I didn't know it was fatal. There was nothing... She wasn't doing anything.
What's it called? The anphalic or something? When you get that encephalitic shock. Yeah. You didn't care?
I didn't know about it. Nobody told me about it.
Well, you should have gone and found out. Highly responsible.
All I knew was that instead of going and romping around on Hampstead Heath after going to the pub, was going to have to take her home.
Oh, that's what you were planning?
Yeah.
You were planning outdoor sex with a young lady of 16 or 17?
Well, I was planning on, having a bit of a walk in the woods, yeah. What's
outdoor sex?
I'm not saying it was outdoor sex.
You must have...
Have you ever been to Hampstead Heath?
At that age?
Why not?
But loads of
When did you first have sex?
It doesn't matter when I first had sex. What I was going to say
doesn't count on your own, by the way.
Loads of... I'm going to ignore that because it's so...
When did you... Well, when? Well,
so horrible.
It's not horrible.
It's a family show, and that is a trite comment.
Well...
there are loads of perverts around on Hampstead Heath all the time.
When you say perverts, you have to be very careful what you say.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
People who like spying on others, right? That to me is a perversion.
Well, how do you know that?
Because you speak to anybody who's been a policeman who's ever been aware of things that go on Hampstead Heath.
I'll tell you what.
And I'm telling you, that's what goes on.
We used to know a lot of the cops that used to come into the bakery because they would come in for a cup of tea and a free cake.
Yes.
And there was a public convenience up on the top of Hampstead Heath.
Right.
Not a million miles away from Jack Straw's.
Yes.
And some of the stories that we heard about what went on in there.
Yes.
Would curl your hair.
I'm sure it would.
I'll tell you that.
Now, the reason I asked you this in the first place, right,
yes,
is because there is a colleague of ours in the broadcasting world called Kate Silverton.
There is indeed.
Right?
In fact, I think today she was hosting yesterday she was hosting the Press Club Awards, the Press Club of London Awards.
Oh, was she? Right, okay.
Which the Times and the Sunday Times will be speaking to Eleanor Mills tomorrow on the warm-up, won newspapers of the year.
They sort of cleaned up a bit,
They
did they? What, both papers?
Both the Times and the Sunday Times won newspaper of the year.
Really? Yeah, okay, fine. So anyway, I was just musing through a few things the other day, and I came across this piece that she'd once written. And the question was, have you ever cheated death?
Oh, yeah.
Now, I mean,
She had a terrible time, didn't she, with something?
Well, I'm about to tell you.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, have you ever cheated death normally brings to mind the kind of, the car crash in which you were looking to escape.
All that sort of self-indulgent rubbish that you did in the Daily Mail.
Sorry,
the stuff that was meant to raise money for the charity for which you'd been asked to promote.
That's right.
But which actually ended up being a sort of cri de coeur about how you'd managed to save your own life.
No, it was about me being saved by the doctors at the 11th hour. Well, I had 36 hours left to live. And I was brought back from the end. But also things like, how I was nearly bombed to death in Libya and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's happened to me several times.
Really?
Anyway, her reply was, I've come under fire in Iraq, but the closest I've come to death was when I was presenting at Royal Ascot.
Yeah.
So she's presenting a show at Royal Ascot. We know what that's like, about high society, fashion, all
Yes.
that. After finishing work, I ate a prawn salad. 20 minutes later, when I was making my way back to my accommodation, I'd passed out in an alleyway.
Blimey.
A specialist later told me I was seconds from death due to a severe allergy to the shellfish I'd eaten, right?
Oh, God, yeah, people are, aren't they?
Yeah, but listen to this. I was so lucky that a lady walking past who had a nut allergy recognised the symptoms and administered adrenaline using the EpiPen that she carries around to save her own life.
Yes. Is that like the thing they use in Pulp Fiction?
Yes, that's right.
When they have to, they have to get her heart started again.
That's right.
And they draw the little the thing and go hit the, got to get it through the rib cage.
That's right.
Blimey.
Now, what I'm saying is that is 1,000,000 to 1 chance. You are collapsed in an alleyway, literally taking a shortcut back to accommodation somewhere in Ascot.
Yeah.
A woman walking past who might have thought you were a drunk from the races that afternoon, you know what I mean, or something like that, suddenly recognises the symptoms, whatever they are, maybe a face is swollen or a throat had swollen.
Yes, I think your throat swells,
yeah. And suddenly she had an EpiPen with adrenaline in it because she herself had a nut allergy and administered. I mean, that is the luckiest thing in the world I've ever heard of. Now, when I used to work at the Press Association, where I was a big cheese, so to speak, you know what I mean? Yeah. we were doing...
Did anyone have a nut allergy there?
Well, so I'm about to tell you. We were doing a... Do you know what? I think it might have been the Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia, in '96. And what happened was there was a girl who was a member of the the team.
Yes.
And there were quite a lot of us there, about 12 or 14.
Right. That was when the bomb went off, wasn't it?
In Atlanta?
Yeah, wasn't it not a bomb in Atlanta?
Pipe bomb in the last couple of days.
Yeah, not a massive bomb, but
no, it was a pipe bomb.
Yeah.
You're right. And the other thing that happened during the Atlanta Olympics was, do you remember the plane that came out of New York and it's never been determined whether it was shot down by a missile or not?
Was that the TWA one?
Yeah.
Yes, was that 96?
That was 96.
I remember it very well because it ended up finishing off TWA as an airline.
It did.
The belief was that it was shot down by the US Rangers.
By mistake.
Who apparently have planes, which nobody knew.
That's right, yeah. But anyway, so what happened was... she was working normally, and then one night we were in a restaurant somewhere, and she went into this, what's it called?
Anaphylactic shock.
Anaphylactic shock.
Right.
And everybody was, what's going on here? Now, for all the time we'd been there, she'd carried what I think is properly described as a bum bag around her belt.
Yes.
That's like a money belt type thing.
Right.
And we all thought that she, used it for...
just carried stuff around in it.
Cosmetics and money and dollars and in those days still traveller's check.
Yeah.
No, it was the fact that she had one of these EpiPens in it.
Had she not told anyone, though?
Well, I don't know. She hadn't told me. That's the point.
Yeah.
And she had a nut allergy, so she never... And she must have just eaten something that had a tiny bit of nut in it. All of a sudden, it's crisis time. And I said, what's going on here?
Yeah.
And I called a waitress. Unfortunately, I know a bit more about this in America than we do.
Right.
And the waitress immediately said, I know what's going on here. And recognised the bag as being a medical bag and nothing else.
And
unzipped it, took it out, bang,
and you can just stick it in your arm, right?
Yeah, I think she stuck it in her neck,
right,
and just solved it just like that. But it was a terribly frightening experience because if we'd have been anywhere else, supposing we'd have been in a diner, you know what I mean?
Say you'd been in Brazil. Covering the World Cup, and you were in Manaus or somewhere where it's a bit more, rural in the middle of the jungle.
Exactly.
Was there not a case recently of a guy who died, I think, or his family was suing the owners of an Indian restaurant because they served him up with something, even though he told them he was allergic to nuts.
They served
him something that had nuts in it.
Absolutely.
It's a shocking way to go, isn't it?
Well, it's not only a shocking way to go, it's a shocking thing that, we all have to be aware of. And you telling me that at 17, a young girl didn't even know she had a nut allergy, that is frightening.
Well, she didn't go into anaphylactic shock. Her lips just swelled up.
Yeah, well, I mean,
so
still...
maybe it could have been the salt. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's still a condition.
I mean, I went out with her a few more months after that.
Oh, did you?
And it never happened again.
And did you take her to Hampstead Heath eventually?
Hey,
did you? Did you?
What do you mean? What are you asking me?
Well, I'm asking you. Did you achieve your ambition with this young lady, which was to have a physical relationship with her at such a tender age?
She lived in Highgate.
Lived in Highgate?
Yeah. Her father was a brass band leader.
And people doubt why I say...
Cromwell Avenue she lived in.
Why I say you have the morals of an alley cat. A young teenage girl, you were leading her into the woods because you wanted Rogerisation on a mass scale.
Well, when did you start?
I'm not going to talk about it. It's a family show, and I don't talk about those sort of things. I think those are the sort of things that remain private.
Really?
Okay?
Private.
Oh yes.
Well, even though you've posted pictures of you carrying some woman out of the sea.
You
took on a Rogerisation holiday down to St Ives.
But we'd been going out with each other for 2 years by then. I didn't meet her one night. And then suddenly say, come with me. And she said, where are we going, mate? We're going somewhere romantic. No, we're going to Hampstead Heath because I'm going to, Rogerise. I have Rogerisation ambitions.
That's not how I spoke to women, as you know. And you haven't asked me how I met her. I did not meet her that night.
Oh, yeah.
I worked with her in a similar situation.
In a bakery?
In the bakery.
Oh, how strange.
Yeah.
So you worked with a bakery 1 minute, next minute, let's have a drink after work. Yeah. Stage 3, up to Hampstead Heath.
I don't know why you find any of this unusual.
And plunge into the, the long grass.
Hey? I wasn't plunging into anything.
Yeah, I bet you were.
This is Talk Sport.
Yeah.
Do you come from a land down under? Women go and men wonder. Can't you hear the thunder? You better run, you better take cover.
This is Talk Sport Sport. We are the two Mikes. Coming up a little bit later on, of course, it is the Porky Quiz, and then ahead of that massive Anthony Joshua fight of the weekend, it's going to be on heavyweight boxing, heavyweight boxers from 1945 to the present day. Right now, though, that music can only mean one thing. We're going to talk to our favourite Australian, the lovely Ms. Sandra Lee. Sandra, a very good morning to you. A very warm welcome to the show.
Oh, well, thank you very much, and good morning to you and to all your wonderful listeners.
Now, I should start by saying that we should, I suppose, be talking about Anzac Day, which is on the 25th of April, a couple of days ago, where everybody gets very, very sort of dewy-eyed, and quite rightly so, about the sacrifices made by many Australians and New Zealanders and many other people.
Mostly at Gallipoli.
At Gallipoli and in other parts of the war. But there was a rather unsavoury sort of suggestion this year, wasn't there?
Well, there was one silly bar manager up north in the far north of Australia decided to have a wet T-shirt competition at the bar to raise $1,000 Australian for a military charity called Soldier On. And of course, as soon as they heard about it, they just said, "Come on, cut it out, fellas. It's not the right thing to do. It shows absolute disrespect." And they pulled their head in and they cancelled the wet T-shirt competition, which I think everybody applauded.
I'm amazed they still have wet T-shirt contests in this day and age. I mean, we're not sort of locked in the late 1970s here.
Well, that's exactly right. I thought the same thing too. I thought, what anachronistic person is coming up with this type of stuff? We've certainly moved on,
right.
And I think that the backlash to this bar monsoons in Darwin was so overwhelming that they said, "Oh, okay, we've really pulled the wrong rein here. Let's sort ourselves out."
That's right, absolutely. And how does the country celebrate Anzac Day, Sandra? And is there truly a bond between Australia and New Zealand? Because there's quite a rivalry in sporting terms, isn't there?
There's a massive rivalry in sporting terms, but it is Anzac Day is probably our most valued and most cherished day in Australia and also across the ditch in New Zealand.
Yeah.
And we really do have an amazing bond with it. And in fact, on Anzac Day, for up until midday, everything is shut, and we have the dawn ceremony to commemorate the fallen, and then nothing is open until midday when life gets on as normal, and everyone gathers around and plays two up and sort of remembers the fallen.
Exactly. I don't know if you know this statistic. You probably were taught it at school, but proportionally, Australia and New Zealand gave up more men in the Second World War than any other country, including Britain, India and everywhere else.
Sounds a massive dog in the background.
It does. It sounds like the dog's about to attack you. Sorry. Do you want to ward it off?
It's not fighting a kangaroo, is it, Sandra?
Yeah, kangaroo just bounded through the lounge window. The dog's on the case. Yeah.
It's a good guard dog, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely excellent, yeah. Now, talking about what's going on in Australia in terms of history and all that, I've only just discovered that Captain Cook landed on this day.
Didn't you just ask her a question a minute ago before the dog intervened?
What's that?
You asked about a statistic.
Oh, yeah, sorry. Did you realise, proportionately, Australia lost more soldiers in the Second World War than any other country?
Yes, I do. And in fact, our sacrifice was so phenomenal that it's one of the reasons that it is such an important day across Australia.
Yes, of course it is, yes. So we moved to 1770 and Captain Cook landed in Australia.
1770?
In 1770 on this day.
On this day?
On this day.
Which day?
What day, you idiot? On April the 28th.
All right. Well, don't have to call me an idiot because I've asked you which day.
Yeah, well, I mean, you go and work it out yourself. Sorry, Sandra, my idiotic friend intervened there. I mean, is that subject to another celebration? Because I know you Aussies like doing a bit of celebrating quite regularly.
We do like to celebrate, but we celebrate Cook's Landing on Australia Day, which is January 26th. So that's when we celebrate it. Yeah.
Well, why?
So it's quite a long way off then.
Sorry, why do you celebrate on January 26th if he landed today, like April 28th? Do you have a sort of delayed...
The immigration delay.
Yeah.
I have to say, I have no idea. I've never heard that he did land today. So your history of Australia is infinitely more detailed than mine.
Well, I wouldn't say detailed. It's just wrong, I think, Sandra, is the word you're looking for. Because the problem with Porky is he thinks everyone in Australia has a sort of encyclopedic knowledge of the people that discovered Australia. And Captain Cook should always be uppermost in your mind, which, of course, it's not.
Well, Captain Cook was British, of course.
Well, it doesn't matter, though.
Yeah. So that's why, we know what's... We know when he left.
I can care less when he got there.
No, hang on. We know when he left, and only you can make up your minds when he arrived. Yeah. He might have been doing something nefarious in between.
Well, he stopped at the Cook Islands, didn't he?
Well, yeah, I imagine so. That's probably why it's called the Cook Islands.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
Let's talk instead about a far more interesting story about the 12-year-old boy
Unbelievable.
who found himself driving halfway across the country, right, and has now been apparently given a caution by the Australian authorities. He took his family car and drove about 1,300 kilometres across the country. How did he manage to do that, Sandra?
Well, he's a cheeky little blighter is what he is. And the reason that he managed to pull it off is because even though he's 12 years old, don't imagine him to be this tiny little poppet with, sort of muffy hair. Right. He stands at 6 feet tall.
Wow.
And he's a 6 foot tall 12-year-old. So he managed to pull it off because he looks like he was, if not a teenager, sort of, almost a young man. And that's how he managed to get away with it. But he did raise a few red flags along the way because he would drive into petrol stations and fill up with petrol or diesel or whatever he was filling up with, and then he drove off without paying.
Yeah, because he didn't have any money or a bank card or anything, presumably.
Exactly. He took off in Mum and Dad's car, and they had no idea that he was gone.
Yeah. Quite apart from anything else, it's also one of the most dangerous road journeys in the world, isn't it? Because of the climatic conditions you encounter if you run out of petrol and you haven't got any water.
Yeah, absolutely. He was going straight across the Nullarbor Plain, which I think we've spoken about before, and how dangerous it is out there. And literally, you can go thousands of miles without seeing a single soul and without coming in contact with anybody or anything. So had he got over there and gotten into trouble, which I suspect he may have, being an ill-prepared 12-year-old, he would have been in all sorts of strife.
Yeah, he
and what did his parents have to say for themselves? I mean, did they report him missing before it was discovered that he was doing this, or did they not even know that he'd gone?
Yeah, they did discover it after a few hours, and they realised that he wasn't around and the car was missing. They said, uh-oh. And they called police, so they were onto it straight away, and they were horribly embarrassed by him because he literally got across 1,200 kilometres, which is a phenomenal amount of driving.
Of course it is. Yeah, it's about 600 or 700 miles.
Yeah, I was going to say about 800 miles. I mean, it must take, that's a good day and a half, 2 days solid driving, really,
I mean, in our terms, he could have driven from Land's End to John O'Groats, which is about the same distance. No, it's about the same distance. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but that's.
Have you ever done anything like this before? I mean, did they even know you could drive? Because my kids love the idea of driving the car, and they're always going, well, when are you going to let me drive the car? And I'm like, well, you're not allowed to drive until you're 17, so just shut up,
Yeah, well, you're actually a year earlier than here. Ours is 18 years old, so he was well ahead of the pack. Yeah. But it reminded me of that fantastic story out of America just recently where an 8-year-old boy took his 5-year-old sister in the family car to go down to get his local Macca's.
Good God, that's he was probably about 5'8" as well. So
he must have needed her to press on the pedals.
The world is changing. But having said that, of course, Sandra, Australia is a country which welcomes initiative. It likes adventure. It's they would describe a boy like that as a larrikin, wouldn't they? Not a problem child. And it can't be that unusual for people to do adventurous things in your country.
No, you're right. He was, most people sort of had a bit of a chuckle, a sly chuckle, thought of him as a cheeky blighter, and that's about all. And I think the courts took that opinion as well because they only gave him a caution, so he doesn't even have have to face up to the juvenile courts or anything. They just said, you're a naughty little bugger. Yeah. Don't do it again.
That's right.
And also, he never hit anything either, which is quite surprising.
No, exactly. Well, he taught himself to drive. Now, I study military journals from around the world, Sandra, you'll be delighted to know, so I keep my eye on, national security everywhere. And it came to me that in the Northern Territories in Australia, there is a network of cables which run across the country, which will be the first to pick up if the mad guy, Kim Jong-un, who rules North Korea, if he releases off a nuclear bomb realistically, Australia will be the first to know. Because this detection system, I'm told, was set up, by the accumulated powers of America, Australia, the Western powers, Japan and all that. And I didn't know whether that was a very well-known fact in your country. I read it in a military, sort of specialist magazine.
Yes, no, we do know about it, and the rusty steel cables and a massive jumble of wires that go straight across the top end of the country. And you're exactly 100% spot on. They're designed to measure the shock waves deep within the earth when that crazy madman from North Korea, releases any missiles.
Yeah, I see. So
it's all getting a bit hairy, isn't it, over there, though? Because, I mean, I was just reading today in one of the papers that some town in South Korea near the border has been completely and utterly taken over by the Americans and basically made it and turned into a sort of missile base just in case this guy decides to start firing some stuff their way. I mean, it's all a bit kind of apocalyptic, isn't it?
Well, it is. And earlier this week, one of his spokesmen actually issued a direct threat to Australia, saying that our Defence Minister, Julie Bishop, had been speaking out of turn. So, effectively threatening to launch a nuclear missile or an intercontinental ballistic missile at Australia if we didn't get out of lockstep with America. So the threat is real and it's present.
I'm sure it is. And I think in your cabinet it'll be known as the Pyongyang problem.
Well, are people kind of putting bunkers together? Are you getting like the tins ready just in case, or the tinnies, I suppose you would call them?
Yeah.
Getting the old cellars prepared in case you have to go underground.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's taken those steps yet, because I think that we're thinking that the Five Eyes nations, all of the international community will take action before we have to sort of take those dramatic and draconian responses to protect ourselves.
No, but it's good to know that the call could go out in Australia. Head for the bunker. We got a problem in Pyongyang.
I'm glad to see you taking it seriously. Shocking, Sandra, as ever.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Sandra.
Good luck with it all, and hopefully we'll see you very soon.
Yeah.
Sandra Lee.
You want to get your voice back by then?
Yeah, I don't know what's happened to my voice.
Yeah.
It's disappeared. I mean,
I told you, it's the air conditioning.
You think it's the air conditioning? It might be the air conditioning.
Making you fat
It's not making me fat. It's making me unable to speak. But a lot of people have said, actually, my voice has become much more sort of tincture-filled since I gave up smoking.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What
do you think?
I have no idea.
You don't have a view?
No, I don't have a view on that one. No. Your voice to me just drones on and on and on. It always has and it always will.
That's pretty funny coming from you.
What?
The man who, whenever I say anything to you, says, stop interrupting me.
No.
It's called the Two Mics.
Nine.
Pearl's a singer. She stands up when she plays the piano in a nightclub. Pearl's a singer. She sings songs.
I haven't heard this song for a long time.
No, I bet you haven't. No.
Elkie Brooks.
Elkie Brooks, that's
what a
right.
Fantastic singer she is.
She was a fantastic singer,
Do you mind if I just read you a couple of quick tweets?
No, please do.
Before we do everything.
Yeah.
Here's one from Gift Gaff who says, sadly, Jack Straw's Castle is now entirely apartments. The police station near the bakery is closed as well, and Haverstock Arms is gone too. Well, lots of people...
Jack Straw's Castle's no longer a pub.
No, I think I knew that it was closed quite a long time
I didn't.
ago.
It had a big car park at the back. Used to park my car there.
In the back, which was also the site of some nefarious
Yeah,
activity
it certainly
from time
was.
to time.
Yeah,
Here's one from SK who says, first time listening at this hour and happy to confirm what Porky says still makes no sense.
Yeah, oh, right, okay.
And William says, what other programme would you get stories on people prowling around Hampstead Heath?
Yes, that's right, yes. Yes, family show.
Yes.
Now, you're absolutely right. That was Elkie Brooks.
It was.
She's making a comeback at the age of 72.
Good on her.
How about that?
I'm very happy to hear that. I always liked Elkie Brooks' voice. I never actually saw her perform, unfortunately.
No, that's absolutely right. She thinks that some modern singers, particularly Miley Cyrus, maybe not quite up to it as she was in her young days. But the most interesting thing about reading about her comeback and all that is that she was the original rock chick. I mean, very much so.
Really?
Each night during a 2-week stint with the Beatles, right?
Right.
She.
I thought we were going to get through this whole show without mentioning the Beatles.
Well, you can't.
There goes that idea.
She can't. She says. She said actually she doesn't like the Beatles very much. She preferred the Stones. So when she was back in the Beatles, right, all those years ago.
Yeah.
By 1964, Elkie was on the same bill as the Beatles at the Hammersmith Odeon Christmas shows. You may have gone to one of those, perhaps.
Not during the 60s. No, I was only a child.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, okay. But she didn't find the Fabs, as they were known then, remotely attractive.
But they didn't do that many shows, did they? I mean, isn't the whole point about the Beatles that they only really existed for a brief 3 or 4 year period, and particularly live shows? Because John Lennon chucked it all in, didn't he?
Live shows about 4 years, I think.
Yeah.
And then they did Sgt. Pepper's and said, I don't want to go on the road anymore.
Yeah.
But anyway, it says... Right, she says, I didn't find them particularly attractive. I didn't fancy them at all. And they took absolutely no notice of me in that sort of way.
Right.
She says, not
She's
even
from
George.
Salford originally. You know?
Sorry?
You know she's from Salford
I know
originally.
she's from Salford, yeah. She says, although there was a bit in the show where John and George were holding each end of a skipping rope and they thought it might be funny for me to jump over it, unfortunately I tripped and fell.
Oh, dear.
But they never even smiled or recognised it. And I was mortified. It was embarrassing, but they just stood there. She says, I've always been really more of a Stones fan than a Beatles girl.
Right.
And she relates this to the way she started to behave. She says each night during a 2-week stint with the Beatles, she would actually go off into a dressing room on her own with bottles of Guinness and a whole bottle of brandy.
Oh, yeah.
She said, in my early 20s...
Well, no members of the Rolling Stones?
No.
That surprises me. Wouldn't you expect...
What are you insinuating?
Well, wouldn't you expect if a girl like Elkie Brooks was a singer, hanging around with the Beatles and the Rolling Stones and other men of that age,
yes,
that they would be kind of, pursuing her in some way?
Well, she's just said the Beatles didn't pursue her.
No, I know.
She just said that.
But somebody would, wouldn't they?
Well, I don't know, because, I'm not a mind reader, and I don't know whether she ever appeared on a bill with the Rolling Stones.
Okay.
You just listen.
All right.
So she says, hold up in the dressing room with 2 or 3 bottles of Guinness and a whole bottle of brandy. In my early 20s... This mirrors sort of your lifestyle and mine, really, in Fleet Street. In my early 20s, I would be doing a bottle of brandy a night easily. I never thought anything of it. I was never what you'd call an alky, really.
Well, I beg to differ, actually. I mean, I never did a bottle of brandy a night, I have to say.
That's right, never an alky.
I mean, Pete Townsend used to do a bottle of brandy on stage when he was playing with The Who, but he was a proper rock star.
Yeah, he said, and she said, but I'd be able to sort myself out. I was very lucky that I never became an alcoholic. She says, I haven't now drunk alcohol before going on stage for 36 years.
Wow.
Which is half of her life, because she's 72 now. When I'm not working, I enjoy wine, and I'm fond of a pint of Guinness, though these days it's nearer 1 than 6.
Yes.
She says, drugs during my time with Vinegar Joe.
Yeah.
Do you remember Vinegar Joe?
I do remember Vinegar Joe.
Who was Vinegar Joe?
Well, it was the name of a band.
Oh, I see. There was a bloke, no. Right. So during my time with Vinegar Joe, I have used drugs. A bit of cocaine, but it was to compensate for feeling so exhausted on the road.
Well, that's all right then.
Yeah.
As long as it's only because you were tired out.
So far, we've got like 6 bottles of Guinness.
Yeah, a bottle of brandy.
Load of cocaine up her nose.
Yeah.
But
surprised she can remember any of it, to be honest. Maybe she doesn't know whether there was any Rolling Stones guys in the room because she couldn't actually tell who was there.
Maybe she's never been told what an alcoholic is as well.
No, quite right.
Anyway, she goes on to say, a bit of cocaine, that's all. It was compensated for so exhausted. The schedule was was too much. It was like having a little nip of coffee, really. It just happened to be cocaine.
Right.
But anyway, then she goes on to say that she met some guy called Trevor.
Yeah.
Who she married.
Okay.
And she said, he got me off the path of habitual cocaine use.
That's good.
In the dressing room, the band would lay out all their lines of cocaine, and I would have my straw and about to take a little, and he turned to me and said, I don't think you should do that, Elkie.
Yeah.
So I didn't, because I wanted to get on his good side, and I haven't taken anything since.
Well, that's good.
So that's a reform woman for you.
That's very good.
A rock chick made good.
I'm looking forward to her returning to the stage in that case.
Yeah.
Does it say anything about when her next tour is going to happen?
Let me see.
We can go along and do it. Because remember I went to see Marianne Faithfull at the Roundhouse.
Oh, that's right, yes.
Sounds to me like sort of thing that Elkie Brooks might do
at
the Roundhouse.
Yes.
I'm sure she'll be great.
That's right. Anyway,
I'm looking at a piece here which says her original name was Elaine Bookbinder.
Elaine Bookbinder.
Yeah.
Wow, that's not much of a name, is it?
Well, it's an interesting name, I think.
Now, her big hits, apart from Pearl's a Singer, which was the best one, is, I remember this one, Fool If You Think, It's Over.
And Don't Cry Out Loud, that was another one as well.
Don't Cry Out Loud, Sunshine After the Rain, No More the Fool, and Lilac Wine, which I don't know. But anyway, she was obviously one of those kind of rock chicks of the sort of 60s, 70s, but 72, still going strong. So you've got to admire the woman, haven't you?
I think you do, yeah.
Yeah.
Here's one from CCL who says, Porky says this is a family show. It's about the watershed. What family is up at this hour? Please give us the details.
Well, yes, but, 1 million people a month listen to this in a podcast. And that's why we are hoping, if you listen out there, folks, that we're going to get some recognition in the podcast awards, which conclude at 5 o'clock today.
5 o'clock on Friday, right?
5 o'clock Friday, 5 p.m. So if you want to vote for us still, please go. Where do they go?
They go to the British Podcast Awards,
right,
which is actually pinned to the top of my the Two Mics Twitter account.
Excellent, thank you.
If they go there, they can find the link.
If you please go there and vote for us,
I'll put it on Facebook as well, just in case. Paul says this.
Yes.
Paul's condemning MG for some romantic alfresco refreshment. Meanwhile, he used his grubby little caravan. Very true.
Excuse me, I was 18 and I bought a caravan and parked it in the farmer's field in Wales as my love nest. That was not grubby. It was...
It's not grubby having a grubby old second-hand caravan that somebody else has been using.
It was entrepreneurial. Now, listen, just going back to Okie Brooks, I didn't realise that she actually sang in a band with Robert Palmer.
Yes, she did.
Now, Robert Palmer was like a huge star, wasn't he?
He was, Addicted to Love and all that.
Now, didn't he make one of the most famous videos ever, standing on the stage singing what?
Addicted to Love.
And
Might as well face it.
The three members of the group...
Who were dressed in sort of very short skirts.
I was going to say, beautiful girls, all guitarists.
White blouses, red skirts, I think, weren't they?
No, black. It was all black and white.
There was some red involved, wasn't
there? No, it was black. They were black, honestly.
Okay, maybe the red lipstick was red.
And they sashayed around, didn't they?
Yeah.
On very high heels with the guitars and were absolutely beautiful ladies.
That was indeed Robert Palmer.
So anyway, Robert Palmer and her worked in a band together. Which one would that be? Was that Vinegar Joe?
I'm not sure if he was in Vinegar Joe.
Okay.
I can't tell you. Actually, yeah, I think he was. I'm just looking at it here. Yeah, he was in Vinegar
Right,
Joe.
okay.
So that's where they would have done it.
Okay, so what happens is Robert Palmer, a star due to his hit Addicted to Love, had been a very heavy imbiber in the years leading up to his demise.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he died, I'm afraid.
He did. Well, he was also quite a heavy smoker
in
as well.
2003.
Yeah, he was quite a heavy smoker and he never stopped.
But anyway, I'm not quite sure what she means by this. She says... He said he never touched alcohol until he met me. So, don't know if
there may be a lot of guys in that situation.
It was only weed up till then. So Rob Palmer was...
Weed?
Yeah, was just...
So we're going into the marijuana as well.
So he was a cannabis nut.
Right.
It was only weed until then, but shortly before he died, I heard he was drinking a bottle of vodka a day.
Yeah.
She says that as though, that was a shame. She also...
Well, it is a shame.
She also once claimed, right, I don't know whether this has ever been picked up by anybody in our profession, that Palmer had a fling with Princess Diana.
Oh, yeah.
And when asked how she knew about such private matter, she says, well, I don't know. Those days were a bit hazy, but I'm certain somebody told me.
Yeah.
I can't remember when, who, why, or where.
Well, it's not the greatest piece of evidence,
no,
really, is it?
Exactly. But she believes that the affair happened. Well, he was drop dead gorgeous, she says, and so was Diana. So I could have seen it happening.
Yes.
But I mean, when we said that we sure she was an alcoholic, she now admits that the when, who, why, or where of most situations passed her by in those days.
Yes, I mean, that is the difficulty with spending your life in that sort of state. Basically, you can't remember very much of anything.
Exactly.
And in fact, Mark puts it rather well. He says, love the story about Alki Brooks.
Alki Brooks, I love it.
It's not bad, is it?
Well done.
Now, how about this from Mark in Mexico, which I think is very, very unfair.
Yes.
He says, Porky, are you sure MG has given up smoking? Very suspicious that he does not have the giving up cough.
Well...
I mean, all I can tell you is if I was not giving up smoking, I would be more than happy to tell you that I was not giving it up. There's absolutely no point in pretending to give up smoking and then telling everyone you are.
I think he may have given up
no
smoking
sense at all.
Because of his, tremendous change in personality.
Yeah, Porky claims that I'm now much more objectionable than I used to be.
Much more. He now has what I would call king syndrome, in everything he does.
King syndrome?
Yeah,
you sure you just haven't got an inferiority complex?
No, not at all. No.
I think you have.
No, I think there's something very odd about you these days.
Really?
I really do. Well, there's something very odd about you for most of the 35 years I've known you.
I'm not the odd one.
It's even more odd now.
I'm not the odd one. We can figure out who is the odd one coming up next. You're the one with indoor and outdoor slippers, 55 different accounts with Sky TV, and a rather odd habit, which we will talk about later. This is TalkSport. We are the Two Mics. I'll tell you what we haven't talked about yet is Gareth Southgate, who was spotted not at the Manchester Derby, but at some rugby league game instead, which created quite a bit of a stir on Twitter. Some people saying, well, so what if he doesn't go to the Manchester Derby because, there's hardly any English players playing. Surely a match-up between Pep Guardiola and Jose Mourinho, who are, you would have to say, two of the finest coaches, or considered to be two of the finest coaches in the game, he might go and see what he can learn from them.
I was about to say, man, I learned something. Also, it's always good to touch base with these senior coaches of our biggest clubs because he's going to need their players for England squads in the future and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But quite apart from anything else, I just think it's a bit tactless because he's a very high-profile man. He must know that wherever he goes, people take pictures of him. And he must have also known that one of the biggest, most anticipated fixtures of the season was happening tonight, and he decided to plant himself into another sport.
Exactly right.
But, I mean, he's got form for this, hasn't he? He likes being pictured at the, rugby union training ground.
Well, he
with
went
Eddie
to the rugby
Jones.
union training. He also went to the Seattle Sonics
absolutely.
basketball pitch to sort of find out what they were doing.
Absolutely. And so I get the impression, and, you want to correct me if I'm wrong, Gareth, if you're listening, I get the impression he likes to give out the messages and the vibes that, look, I'm such a wide-thinking coach, I often seek inspiration from other disciplines in sport,
yes.
Other sports, and that's why I go to them.
And I think he jinxed it as well, didn't he?
Sorry?
He not jinxed it as well, because Leeds were supposed to win the game because they were the big favourites, and in fact they didn't, because he turned up.
Well, I think... I think that his view is that, if I can expand my thinking and what I observe in other sports, I will be praised for being an all-seeing, all-dancing sort of coach.
Well, he'll be praised if he manages to get England somewhere through the World Cup qualifying.
Yes.
And then, he'll get them through World Cup qualifying, but once he gets them to Russia,
yes.
He'll actually get somewhere decent rather than just giving up after the first couple of games.
That's right. Now, talking Russia, have you ever flown on Aeroflot?
I never have.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
We one time I did the FA Cup final on the sort of Saturday, and then which was in Cardiff in those days, because it was
because they were building a new Wembley.
Yeah, and then we drove to Bristol.
Right.
And believe it or not, for some unknown reason, flew from Bristol to France.
Right.
Where we did a rugby game, because it was the...
well, they were certainly getting their money's worth out of you, weren't they?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. We spent 2 days in France and then got on an Aeroflot plane, went to Moscow, where England were playing in a soccer international, football international,
right.
and then flew back to...
And were you impressed with the, shall we say, physique of the Aeroflot's stewardesses?
Well, this is what I'm about to talk to you about.
Because there's been an interesting case, isn't there?
Well, I'm about to talk to you about it, because we flew Aeroflot to Moscow and then flew Moscow back to Paris, or London somewhere. But anyway, what's happened is this report has come out of Moscow. Overweight air stewardesses would pose a danger to passengers during emergency on board, say representatives of the Russian carrier.
Yeah.
But the reason this has come up is because 2 members of the airline's public council told people that passengers preferred slim, attractive flight attendants and that crews must make efforts to comply to these stipulations.
Yes. They basically said they were quite right to have this kind of what you might regard as maybe sexist policy.
Yes.
Because it was a commercially successful organisation.
One of them even said there is no harm in stating that our female attendants should have ample bosoms.
Really?
Yes.
They actually said that?
They didn't say ample bosoms.
Yeah.
They said, large parts of their body referring to them, right?
Sure.
Now, Aeroflot in their constitution, when they were, freed from the yoke of communism, have in their constitutional pledge not to discriminate on the basis of age, sex, or appearance when choosing staff. So, you're right. The airline won 2 recent court cases brought by attendants who complained they'd been taken off long-haul flights and moved to lower-paid or nighttime routes because they were not beauty queen type features.
Well, it's interesting because it was the opposite in America, where basically all of the major kind of carriers, if you like, used to employ very, very attractive young women.
What you could call dolly birds, really.
Who would work on airlines like Delta, United, American, and all that. But the seniority of people who would then get to work on the transatlantic flights tended to go to the people who were older.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people used to complain. Because then the older women would have to then be taken off, let's say, first class and business class. Yeah. Because the transatlantic passengers kind of demanded that they should be served by dolly birds.
That's right. That's right.
80s. And so the older people who had seniority were chucked back into. Because I always remember when I used to fly American and United over the Atlantic.
Yes.
The older, you used to get stuck with the old battle axes.
That's right.
Which is a terrible phrase. I know. And I apologise for using it.
Yes.
But they were grumpy. They didn't really want to be there.
No.
They wanted to be in first class, but they got bumped back.
It wasn't service with a smile, was it?
It was not service with a smile.
So anyway, getting back to old Aeroflot. Yeah. So some of the women now who are bringing this case against Aeroflot say that last year all attendants were weighed. They were told they had to be weighed.
Yes.
And that those with a dress size larger than UK 16,
Right.
I don't know what that is, would no longer work on international flights.
Well, I think that's about the average dress size now in this country, which is not small, I have to say, but it's not massive either.
So one said she was told, even if you lose weight, you won't fly to America or the Dominican Republic because actually you're too old.
Really?
So this is the point you're bringing up.
Yeah, right.
So now Aeroflot said, we doubt these accusations, but yesterday, two ladies called Pavel Danilin and Nikita Khrushchevsky.
Right.
Sorry, I beg your pardon. Yesterday, two members of Aeroflot's Public Council, that is the public representation body, who are called, as I said, Pavel Danilin.
So they're representing Aeroflot.
They're representing
Pavel's a male name, isn't it?
That's it. And Nikita, of course, is a male name because Nikita Khrushchev was the leader.
It could be. Although Nikita was an Elton John song about a woman.
Well, Nikita Khrushchev was a man, believe me. He used
Maybe
his
it's
shoe.
interchangeable.
He banged his shoe
did at the UN,
onto the lectern at the UN when he found Gary Powers flying over his country taking spy pictures.
But you remember the Nikita song, though, don't you? Oh, Nikita, you will never know. That one, the Elton John song.
Yes.
It was a film of a woman who was in the army, sort of walking up and down.
Okay.
Checkpoint Charlie.
Well, I can't help you
Don't
with that
remember
one.
that?
Can't help with that one.
All right.
Anyway, it says Mr. Khrushchevsky told people who wanted to know that in sympathy with the company policy, he had himself lost 20 kilograms. Yeah.
Oh, had he?
And said, I can't see what the fuss is about.
okay.
Why can't people go on diets?
Yeah.
He said, I just corrected my eating habits. I don't understand why the request to be a particular size is unrealistic.
Right.
He's saying there's nothing wrong with it. And asked to comment about Yevgenia Magurina, one of the women who sued Aeroflot, Mr. Khrushchevsky said that she had boasted about her body in court.
Oh, yeah.
He said, she said that she had large and ample bosom.
Did she?
But she didn't use a word. She used another word,
She
okay?
used something else, which you can't say on a family show.
Which she said served her well throughout her life and more recently started doing her a disservice because they'd become overlarge.
I see.
Right?
What are you saying?
Are you getting it? Well,
I don't know what you're saying.
Well, she'd put a bit of weight on, and what had happened is proportionately, her whole body had got bigger.
Okay. And so she'd been sacked then as a result.
Well,
of
this is the problem.
Because I was talking to somebody who used to work in the airline business, funnily enough, some while ago, and she was telling me that in British Airways used to weigh the stewardesses.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And if you got over a certain weight, they'd tell you to lose weight.
Right. Okay. So this is a big legal case, but lawyers for Aeroflot say, look, a plumper. This is what they're saying. A plumper flight attendant will have more difficulty getting past a passenger in the aisle.
Well, there is
as
some
space
truth
on
to that.
aeroplanes is constantly being reduced.
Well, I mean, there is some truth to that. I mean, if you've got somebody who is larger walking down the aisle, particularly in economy, which I know you don't fly very often.
Yes.
There's not a lot of room there.
No, not a lot of room. I agree.
I mean, they'll whack you if you're sitting on the aisle seat if they're too big.
Oh, it's true. But anyway, to conclude this, he said, look, Aeroflot, we now regard our airline, Aeroflot, as a premium airline.
Yes.
And people who are paying partly for the appearance of the staff that serve them on board expect, high standards. He says higher wages for long-haul flights could be seen as a stimulus for stewardesses to slim and try and achieve the body profile that is most required.
Yeah.
Adding it would benefit their health too, which I suppose you could say, if you less you weigh, the better you are. But
it comes down to personal freedoms, doesn't it? And how much the people that employ you should have an effect on how you live your life.
That's right.
And whether or not they have any right to make you do anything.
That's right.
Yeah.
When asked why he looked overweight himself, this is Mr. Danilin, he said, well, I agree, I am fat, but I only ever fly on our planes as a passenger, not as a member of the staff looking after other passengers.
I mean, there have often been suggestions that passengers should also be charged more money if they actually weigh more than other passengers.
That's right. And then he added, so this is quite an interesting quote.
Yeah.
He said, I don't know why people are concerned about my body shape. I have no ambitions to be a tank crew member or a ballerina.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's very kind of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
But what if his employer decided to tell him that he needs to lose a couple of stone?
Well, I suppose he'd have to.
He might not like it.
I tell you what, I knew that ballerinas had to keep themselves in shape for obvious reasons, but I didn't realise that if you're in the army and you're driving a tank,
I'm sure you do.
You've got to be smaller than a bloke who's throwing grenades on the battlefield.
Well, you've got to be very fit, haven't you?
Yeah.
Ian in Shenzhen has tweeted us with a picture of a boarding pass from Aeroflot, and he says, "Avoid Aeroflot, Porky. They serve hardly any booze.
Really?
However, I must say I was in pleb class."
Yeah, no, I don't agree.
And there's his electronic ticket from Aeroflot.
Oh, excellent. Well done. Thank you very much. much. I mean, the few times I've flown on Aeroflot, I found it excellent. In
Were
fact,
you in sort of posh class?
Yes, I was. Yeah, I was in business. And I found, actually, I've never been to Russia and not had good treatment, if you see what I mean.
Yeah.
I mean, whenever I've stayed in a hotel in Russia, it's been a really good hotel. And I've been, subject to fantastic hospitality inside the Kremlin even.
Well, you've always been there in the capacity of, what might be regarded as a sort of VIP, though.
That's right. That's absolutely right.
So, of course, you would be treated well.
Yeah.
Plus, of course, you've got that connection that you don't like to speak about.
What's that?
Well, you tell me. This is Talk Sport.
What connection? What are you on about?
Where is my mind? Where is my mind? Where is my mind?
This is Talk Sport. We are the two mics. Porky quiz time coming up very shortly. We'll be putting that out live on Facebook, of course. Just for a bit of info on the game that Gareth Southgate went to see.
Yes.
It was Leeds Rhinos against the Huddersfield, and Leeds Rhinos lost, which is not what they were supposed to do.
Hang on, isn't Leeds Rhinos Adrian Durham's team?
No, I think he supports Hull, doesn't he?
Oh, Hull, yeah, he does, yeah.
I think he supports.
yeah.
Well, I think he does.
Yeah, I think he does. Yeah.
I think he supports Hull.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I'm never too sure.
No, I think he went to
He's got a bit of a.
university
He did go to university in Hull. That's why he's always banging on about Hull.
I see. Okay.
Whenever we talk to him about Hull
Yeah.
and the city of culture and all that rubbish.
Okay, yeah,
that's
you're
why
absolutely right.
That's why he gets so excited about it.
Yeah.
You know.
Listen, by the way, your new car and all that. Now,
Yes.
do you remember when we first started doing stage shows?
Yes.
One of my little gags was to walk on with a tin of peas.
Yes.
With no peas in it, obviously,
Yes.
washed out tin of peas, and rattle my my car keys, saying that the evil. What they
Car
call
thieves.
No, not car thieves. The evil
Carjackers.
carjackers, would try and get the code from your keyless car.
That's right.
Because in those days I had a Jag that was keyless,
Yes.
right? Well, you won't believe it. It's gone full circle.
Yeah.
Because the car authorities are now advising. You won't believe this, right? And maybe you should do it. Is yours keyless?
No, it's not. I mean,
exactly,
you can. In
Yeah.
fact, I'll take the opportunity to show this. I meant to show this earlier. This is old Anthony Joshua with his new Jaguar F-Pace.
Oh, it's just one of his cars, yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Now, what I was going to say is that, we have covered stories on this show in the last couple of weeks in which if you leave the keyless car fob on the hall table, in the old days they used to put an unwound coat hanger through, lift
or a
it,
fishing rod or
or
something.
a fishing rod or something like that. Well, so people got wise to that. They no longer leave them on the hall table.
Yes.
But they put them on the table in the lounge.
But this is the key that you still need to actually press.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you don't need to physically access the key anymore because they can now pick it up as an electronic signal.
Right.
So do you know what the car authorities are
Are they telling you to put it in a can of peas?
No, they're telling you to put it in the fridge.
Right.
They say store your keys in the fridge or a microwave, and that will protect you because of the thickness of the fridge doors and the fact that a microwave is sealed, right? From evil carjackers who are passing by from lifting the signal in your key fob.
Sure. Well, I mean, that is the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose if they come to a house and they see an expensive car outside the house, parked in the driveway or something, they know somewhere in that house is the way to get into the car.
You're absolutely right. Right, listen to this. Criminals have been able to hack them by standing near houses with a device that picks up the signal and relays it to an accomplice standing near the car with another transmitter, which unlocks and starts the vehicle.
Right.
So amazingly, the car thief team of two, one can stand near the house, switch on his device, scan the house, and then pick up the code from the fob.
Well, Dave had a situation, didn't he, when he went to lock his car? This was the old-fashioned way of locking a car.
Yeah.
And somebody kind of basically
intercepted
the recording of the locking of the car.
Right.
And he goes into a shop. They then open the car and take stuff out of it.
It's outrageous.
Incredible.
So the strategy is highlighted in astonishing footage released last week, which showed two criminals stealing a Mercedes from the owner's driveway in Essex, okay? It actually, this was CCTV camera there, showed how they actually did it and got away with it.
Yeah.
Drivers have been advised to take precautions such as turning off the fob's radio signal. Now, I didn't know you could do that. Did you know you could do that?
I did know that you could intercept you can intercept almost any signal and replicate it, right?
Yeah, but it says here you should turn off the fob's radio signal, which can be achieved on Mercedes cars by clicking it twice.
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Or storing it in a metal-lined container.
Right, like a tin.
Thank you.
There you go.
Right, so everybody making the joke that I was mad to try and protect myself against the evil carjackers. Now I will accept your apologies. A fridge or a microwave would do the job, experts say. Car crime rising fast for the first time in 20 years because crooks have cracked the modern security measures.
Yes.
Another tactic, how about this, involves jamming a fob signal so motorists are actually not locking the cars when they think they are.
Right.
So you see a guy who walks away from his car, the minute he points his fob at the car, you intercept that signal, not to steal the signal, but to stop him locking it.
Right.
You can then get in the car, which is open.
Yes, I mean, the problem is, I suppose, there's only so many of these frequencies to
Yeah.
go around.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
unless they're an infinitesimal amount.
Yes.
I mean, if you've got, because we had a situation where a key was lost in one of the cars that somebody I know had.
Yeah.
And the worry was that somebody would find that key and to just walk around the streets until they found the car.
That's right.
And open it and
didn't
drive away.
That happened in one of the Bourne films. You know when he smashed up the CIA guy in the airport in Italy?
Yes.
He took
that's
his
right.
key
and
then
he just
walked
walked
down
into
the
car
airport.
park.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
And you can do that. That's
Yeah.
one way of doing it.
Exactly,
But
yeah.
presumably, if you can then also reprogram any car key,
Yes.
you can open any one of those makes of car.
That's right.
Because you no longer, I mean, particularly in your case and my case, you no longer have an ignition key.
That's right.
You don't have to put it in the ignition, do you?
Yeah.
You just press a button.
So do you want to apologise to me now for
Why?
mocking me? Because I actually came in here one night
Yeah.
with my keys
Yes.
in a can of Bachelor's Peas.
Well, of course I'm going to mock you, because if you
No.
don't walk around with your keys in a can...
Well, I'm going to
That's
again in future
ridiculous.
now, because
That's
these
totally
carjackers
stupid.
are everywhere.
No, they're not.
It's not totally
Absolute
stupid.
rubbish.
It's totally right
No.
and safe.
You're
and the
mad.
problem with you is your vanity
No.
wouldn't allow you to
I don't have vanity. I
to
don't suffer from
concede
vanity.
that though it may be slightly
So far, you've accused me of being
erratic.
odd, okay? Everybody who listens to this show
Yeah.
knows which one of us is odd, okay? You've also accused me of being vain. Everybody knows who's vain in this relationship here.
I am
you
not
are
vain.
You are doing projection absolutely at 200% tonight.
No.
Projecting everything onto me, saying that,
No.
that I have problems with drink, saying that I have problems with air conditioning, I have problems with being fat. The list goes on and on and on.
Not at all.
I think anyone who walks around with a can of peas, which is emptied out
Yes.
and has car keys inside it,
Yeah.
is, I would say, a bit of an oddball.
No,
and
not.
if you think it's normal, then go ahead and do it.
It is normal. Well, it's not normal, but it's forward thinking. It's much better thinking than you are. By the way, I tell you what we've not covered this week,
What's
and it's
that?
because I can't stand the taste of it or sight of it. The humus crisis.
Oh, the humus crisis.
Yeah.
Well, it's just a Sainsbury's crisis, isn't it? Is it not?
No,
just-
it's a
not
humus crisis.
It's not a worldwide humus crisis, is it?
No, I think it is. I don't know why. Middle Eastern dip has become as much of a staple of our shopping baskets as wholemeal bread. Not for me. I wouldn't have it in my house.
You don't like hummus?
I can't stand it.
Really?
It tastes like, what's that stuff you put on the back of wallpaper when you put wallpaper on the
Paste.
wall? Paste.
Yeah.
It tastes like that to me.
Well, if it's done
It's
properly, it
absolutely
doesn't.
tasteless, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Well, if it's made from chickpeas, basically, right? Now, you will have occasionally eaten the odd chickpea curry, wouldn't you?
No.
Or chana
no,
masala?
No.
You don't like chickpeas?
No, I
And
don't.
if you make it properly with olive oil and garlic and
No.
chickpeas and lemon juice, it's actually very, very nice.
I cannot stand it. Apparently, because I looked it up to see where it comes from, it's a 1,300-year-old peasant dish.
Is it?
It's from the Middle East. It's made of cooked and mashed chickpeas.
That's right.
Or other beans.
Yeah.
Sesame paste.
Yeah.
Lemon,
Yeah.
garlic, and salt.
Yes.
Traditionally served on a large plate, drizzled with olive oil and herbs. And
When
accompanied
you get it made fresh and you have pita bread to eat it with, it's
I was
delicious.
about to say, and accompanied by fresh pita bread,
Yeah.
tomato, onion, cucumber salad, and maybe falafel, which is fried
Falafel.
chickpea balls.
Falafel, yeah, which is lovely.
Ugh.
Very nice. One of these days, I'm going to have to take you to Borough Market. When the summer properly arrives, we're
Yeah.
going to have to go up to Borough Market,
Yeah.
maybe in June, when we're doing a lot of work during the day. And we'll go up there, and I will take you to a great falafel stand, and I will get you a falafel sandwich, if you like, a wrap.
Oh, no, thank you.
You
I
would
wouldn't
love
eat
it.
it. I
No,
couldn't,
it's so good.
I could not eat it.
How could you not eat it?
I was on a plane back from the Middle East one time.
Yeah.
I can't remember which country it was, but they served as the main meal this hummus stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I said to the person sitting next to me, who was Israeli, I think.
Uh-huh. They love
I
it in
s-
Israel. They love falafel. in
Yeah.
Israel.
I said, God, what's this garbage, And he said, what? I said, it's awful. I said, I can't get me some of the food, decent food, please. I was in, club class or something.
Was this El Al or something you were on?
No, it wasn't. It was, I can't remember now. Something like Beirut Airlines or something.
Oh, really?
Something like that. Yeah, I don't
Sounds
know.
a bit dodgy.
Yeah, well, I
Beirut
suppose it was,
Airlines.
yeah. But anyway, the point is that I couldn't stand it, and then I tried to find out a bit more about it. But apparently, it's so popular in the Middle East
Yes.
that several different countries like Egypt, Greece, and Israel are all claiming they were the original...
They were the originators.
Originators of it, because they're saying it's our national dish.
What about Tiram Salata? How are you with that?
Tiram Salata?
Yes.
I quite like that. In Greek restaurants?
Yes.
I can eat a bit of that in Greek restaurants.
I mean, that's fishy, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a bit more fishy.
You have that with pita bread. It's
I do. Tiram Salata I don't mind.
But it's a similar consistency as hummus, though, is what I'm saying.
Well, yeah, it's not the same taste, though.
Not the same taste.
By the way, it's in the Oxford English Dictionary, it is the most spelt word with acceptable different spellings.
Is that right?
It can be spelt 5 different ways.
Okay.
Hummus.
Yes.
Humus.
Yeah.
Humus.
Yes.
Hummus. And homos. Silly. Seriously.
What, H-O-M-O-S?
H-O-M-M-O-S.
Really?
Homos.
I've never seen that. I've usually seen it H-O-U-M-M-U-S. That's my normal spelling.
It's not even. That's not even one.
Really?
The ones are H-U-M-M-U-S.
Yeah.
H-O-U-M-O-U-S.
Yes.
H-U-M-U-S.
Yes.
H-O-M-M-U-S.
Yes.
And H-O-M-M-O-S.
So not H-U-M-M-O-U-S.
No. And the Oxford English Dictionary has all those as acceptable spellings for it. That is because it has been translated over the last 1,300 years from Arabic and the Arabic word for chickpea.
Really?
But most supermarkets... Yeah, that's the same one. But most supermarkets use hummus, H-O-U-M-O-U-S.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe I'm mistaking the 2 M's. I could be wrong about that.
25 years ago, it was a vegetarian delicacy favoured by caftan-wearing hippies, who had no sense of worth in their life.
If you make like lamb kebabs at home, which I presume you never do because you don't like kebabs, if you put hummus in the pita bread and put the lamb kebabs in with some feta cheese and some olives,
doesn't sound good to me.
It's fantastic.
Well, anyway, now it's a £70 million industry.
Yeah.
And
but anyway, you're telling us there isn't any.
There isn't any. No.
Where? Why isn't there any?
I don't know.
You don't know? Wasn't that the point of the story?
I think the crop must have failed or something.
Well, no chickpeas.
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Right. Yeah.
Trevor says this, why don't you wrap your keys in tin foil,
yeah, well, I've thought about that as well. Apparently, we import 12,000 tonnes of hummus or chickpea or something.
Okay.
And now...
As long as you've done the preparation on this story, that's the main thing.
Yes, that's right.
We're out of time, unfortunately, before you can tell us why we're out of hummus.
I'm trying to find out.
We're out of time now.
Oh, they cleared the shelves because of production issues.
Really?
Yeah.
Production issues?
Yeah.
You sound like a counsellor.
Yeah.
Right, now, are you prepared for the Porky quiz?
Definitely.
Because it's coming next.
Good.
I guess it had to be the Rocky theme, didn't it?
Yeah.
Although it does sound like a bit of an Ersatz Rocky theme. I have here in my hot little hand the boxing quiz that has been handed to me by Mr. Dave Levine.
The 2 sets of questions.
Only one set as ever.
The normal questions.
So you continue with this absolute calumny.
And then,
falsification.
Porky's got 3 out of the first 4 right. Better get the the big questions in,
Well, you haven't got the first 3 out of the first 4, right?
Yeah.
Here's the one section, right? And here is the envelope, which has got nothing else in it. So I'm now ready and willing and able to ask you the questions. There are 10 questions, all with one correct answer.
Yes.
No multiple choice. If you get one correct, you will hear this sound.
I am the greatest.
Which you might recognise, of course. If you get one incorrect, you will hear this sound.
I'd wrestle with an alligator.
And of course, as you know, we are now recording it live on Facebook. So if you wish to go and to look at the Two Mics page on Facebook, you will see it, and you'll be able to see whether Porky looks like he's looking down, looking up, looking at any sort of notes that he may or may not have.
To assist that process, I've just retweeted Watch the Porky Quiz live here, facebook.com. So go to that immediately, please, folks, and be my eyes and be my ears.
Yes.
Because I can't see everything that happens over that side of the desk.
Well, most people say when they're looking at you actually answering the questions, it looks as though you're cheating.
Sleight of hand when he chooses the second set of questions, okay?
Right, are you ready for question number 1?
Bring it on, man.
Okay, question number 1, and this is, of course, as you requested, all about heavyweight boxing from 1945 to the present day.
Yes.
Question number 1, when did Sonny Liston become heavyweight champion of the world?
Sonny Liston became heavyweight champion of the world in 1962.
Correct.
Hooray!
I am the greatest.
Ooh.
He defeated Floyd Patterson,
yes, he
of
did.
course, in the first round.
Yes.
Question number 2.
Yes.
Who did Lennox Lewis beat to become undisputed heavyweight champion of the world in 1999?
1999. Yes, me think here. 1999, Lennox Lewis. Now, Lennox Lewis finished off Mike Tyson once and for all, when Mike Tyson was 35. But Mike Tyson was born in 66. So he could only have been 33.
You don't get any extra marks for all this nonsense.
No, but I just expanded my knowledge, you know.
Well, you can see that if you want. Or you
so you're asking me, who did he beat?
in 1999.
Did he beat Trevor Burbeck?
Is that your answer?
Yes, my answer.
Incorrect.
No!
I done wrestled with an alligator.
It is Evander Holyfield.
Evander Holyfield.
Question number 3.
I've got Evander Holyfield's book signed by Evander Holyfield.
Yeah, well, I think he was in the studio, wasn't he? And
He
there's
was.
a picture of you wearing some very hideous-looking boxing trunks.
Quite right.
Pretending to fight him. Question number 3.
Yeah.
Leon Spinks lost the crown in New Orleans to Muhammad Ali.
Yes.
What was the year?
Yes, Muhammad Ali.
Leon Spinks, famously interviewed by me years later, of course.
With no teeth.
With no teeth.
In a bar where he was drinking sherry. Yeah.
No, he was drinking Cointreau and beer.
Cointreau and beer. Right, what year did Leon Spinks lose to Muhammad Ali?
Yes.
Well, that must have been the year that Muhammad Ali took the... Leon Spinks beat him, and he beat him back, didn't he?
I can't help you with
Yeah,
any clues.
he did, because Leon Spinks took the title off Ali, then Ali took it back to become world heavyweight champion for the 3rd time. First man in history.
I can't help you.
Right, so you're asking me the year?
I'm asking you the year where Leon Spinks lost the crown in New Orleans.
Yes, in New Orleans.
Yeah. I'm not telling you whether it's the same year, different year. Can't tell you.
I think that was. I think that was 1976.
Incorrect.
No.
I done wrestled with an
It was,
alligator.
in fact, 1978.
No.
It was.
No.
Question number 4. This is more up to date. In what round did Mike Tyson lose the title to Buster Douglas in Japan in February 1990?
February 1990 in Japan, Buster Douglas, biggest upset of all time.
One of the biggest, yes.
In world heavyweight boxing history.
Yeah.
And to my memory, I've got a good memory for these sort of things, it was amazingly the 5th round.
Incorrect.
No!
I done wrestled with an alligator.
It's the 10th round.
10th round.
Now, these are all very straightforward
5
questions.
is half of 10.
It is half of 10,
So, you know.
And 20 is double 10. Doesn't really matter, does it? Okay. Question number 5. Rocky Marciano held the world heavyweight title during which years?
Which year?
So I'm looking for the start of a year and the end of a year, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Okay. So, as we come out of the Second World War, it's Joe Louis till 47, and then 47, and then Rocky Marciano, in my view... Now, you've got to give me some lateral here.
Well, no, not at all.
Rocky,
he was heavyweight champion for a number of years.
Right,
and
okay.
I just need that period.
Right, well, it was either I'm thinking aloud here, folks.
Well, let me know when you're giving me your answer.
It was either 1952 to 1956, or it was 1953 to 1956, okay?
All right.
And his record was 449, 149.
I'm not interested in his record. I'm only interested
He was the
in
only
time...
ever unbeaten heavyweight champion of the world, which is an amazing fact, which I knew, of course.
Did you?
So, Rocky Marciano, I'm going to say...
You don't have to count the computerised fight, of course.
Hang on, yes.
You remember that?
Yes, I do. Yes, I do, yeah. I would say it was 19... I'm still thinking aloud here. I'm going to see what it sounds like.
To hurry you.
What it sounds like. 1952 to 1956. I'm going to go 52 to 56.
Correct.
Hooray!
I am the greatest.
That's 2 out of 5.
Glory.
Question number 6.
Yes.
The first fight between Ali and Frazier was entitled The Fight of the Century.
Yes.
760 press passes were granted for it.
Yeah.
When was it? And I need an exact date. Very famous fight.
Of course, it was a famous fight.
Yeah.
And it was followed by the Thriller in Manila, which is another rare fight. Not the Rumble in the Jungle, because that was Ali and Foreman.
Well, I can't comment on that.
But this fight we're talking about here, it was when he came back.
It was called the Fight of the Century.
Fight of the Century.
Yeah.
And it was in Let me see. It was at Madison Square Garden, wasn't it?
I don't care where it was.
Yeah, it was, yeah. And it was in 19... I'm thinking aloud here. It was either 1970 or 1971.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to say...
I need a date as well.
That is a date. That's a year.
Well, that's a year.
Yeah.
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 Well, the answer is more than just a year because it's such a famous fight.
I don't agree.
If you get the year right, you get half a point.
Right. Well, it was July 1971.
Incorrect.
No!
I'd have wrestled with an alligator.
You get a half a point for 1971. It was actually March the 8th, 1971.
Oh, crikey, 2 months off.
Yeah, well, it's not right, is it? That's what the answer is. Question number 7. Frank Bruno became WBC champion after defeating his opponent in 1995 at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah.
Who was it?
That was Trevor Burbeck.
Incorrect.
No!
I'd have wrestled with an alligator.
Why have you got an obsession with Trevor Burbeck?
I
Is he
don't
the
know.
exile on Main Street of the boxing world?
No, I know he did something, Trevor Burbeck.
Well, maybe you could try him on number 8.
Hang on. Who did
Oliver
Bruno
McCall was the fighter in
Oliver
question.
McCall. He was a non-entity.
Yeah, well,
Am I supposed to remember these bum-a-month fighters,
Well,
eh?
because Bruno became the WBC champion in that fight.
Yeah, but he's only champion for less than a year,
No.
and it was a ridiculous title that somebody invented to give Frank a world heavyweight title.
I don't know we're attacking Frank Bruno.
Well, the minute he got into the ring with Mike Tyson, he looked paralysed with fear.
So did most people.
Yeah.
Question number 8.
Well, I wouldn't.
How many Yeah, you would. How many successful heavyweight title defences did Larry Holmes make?
Larry Holmes?
Yes.
He's a good man, Larry.
Very big man.
Larry Holmes. You want to know how many...
How many successful heavyweight title defences did he make?
Yes. How many successful?
So looking for a number, basically.
Larry Holmes.
Larry Holmes, yes.
Number. Okay. Thinking aloud here. I think it's 12, but I'm thinking aloud. I'm not going to commit to 12.
Well,
what number question is this? What number question?
It's question number 8. You've got so far 2.5.
Okay. I'm going to go for. It wasn't 12 actually. I'm going to go for. It wasn't anything near 12. It was 5.
Incorrect.
No.
I'd have wrestled with an alligator.
It was 20.
20.
20.
20 successful.
And also, he's the
defences.
only fighter to have stopped Muhammad Ali, believe it or not.
Good God.
I'll give you that as a bit of bonus information.
Yeah.
Question number 9.
Right.
How many wins does Vladimir Klitschko have by knockout?
By knockout?
Yeah.
Vladimir
Klitschko, who is fighting this weekend.
Not his brother.
Vladimir Klitschko.
Not Wilhelmina, his brother.
Wilhelmina.
What's his name?
I don't think that's his brother.
Vladimir and... is it William?
I don't know.
Wilhelmina.
He's
Wilhelmina.
not- Wilhelmina is a woman's name, isn't it?
Well, I think it's... yeah. So, anyway, you want to know how many
It's nothing
what?
to do with her, anyway. It's to do with Vladimir Klitschko.
Right. How many what?
Hey?
What's the question, sorry?
How many wins does he have by knockout?
Wins by knockout.
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking aloud. No, I'm thinking it could be quite a few. And
His brother's name's Vitali, by the way.
Vitali, that's right.
Not Wilhelmina.
No. Well, who's this Klitschko we're talking about?
Vladimir, the one that's
Vladimir,
fighting at the weekend against Anthony Joshua.
Okay. I would
For
say...
God's sake.
I would say the figure you're looking for here is 14.
Incorrect.
No!
I'd have
Not even
wrestled with an
close.
alligator.
53.
53.
Yeah, out of 64 wins, it's 53 by knockout.
It's quite a
Now,
lot.
question number 10. Can you get yourself up to more than 2.5, which is
Right.
what you've got at the moment?
Right.
Where was Anthony Joshua born?
Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua.
Yes.
Where's he born?
Yes.
Sorry, do you mean which country or which town?
No, what town?
Town.
Yes.
Town.
I mean, you can get the country as well if you want.
Anthony Joshua,
Yeah.
in my view,
Yeah.
I'm thinking aloud here.
Yeah, go on.
I think he's a London boy, and I'm just thinking aloud.
I can't give you any clues.
And therefore, I think he comes
you have
from...
to be more specific.
Yeah. Hang on. Oh, so that's an admission it's London then?
No, I didn't say that.
More specific. I'd say he was born in... It begins with D, I think.
D.
So it could be either... I'm thinking aloud here. It could be Dagenham. Could be...
Could be Dagestan.
No. I'm going to go for Deptford.
Deptford.
Yes.
Incorrect.
No.
I'd have wrestled with an
Although
alligator.
the FORD bit was right. It was actually Watford.
Watford. Well, I knew it was a Ford, so I get half a point for that.
No, you don't
don't
get
I?
half a point
Yes,
at
I
all.
do.
Absolute rubbish. So I'm afraid your grand total in the heavyweight quiz is 2.5 out of 10.
No.
Which is pretty pathetic considering there were no trick questions, no questions about movies, no questions about anything other than specific heavyweight questions.
Yeah.
Very true.
But I got,
And-
you see, it's typical. I got the first one right, then all the rest were gerrymandered
Not
questions.
true. Incorrect.
Did I get the first one right?
You did get the first one right.
Yeah, I see. I knew exactly what I was
And
talking
you
about.
only got one other one right, and that was Rocky Marciano.
Yeah, which I got exactly right.
Well, that's why you got a point for it.
Yeah.
And then you got half a point for Ali Frazier.
Yeah, I got the most difficult questions right.
Yes, I would say that's pretty pathetic for somebody who claims to be an expert.
Yeah, well, I think you're pretty pathetic, so I don't care.
2.5 out of 10, that was the Porky quiz.
Yeah,
What a load of rubbish.
Rubbish.
I'd have wrestled with an alligator.
before you take to the pitch, before that penalty kick, before the crowd roars, be ready with Betfair. Never leave getting great value to chance. Betfair have been best odds most often on the top English League football in 2017 compared to leading bookmakers. Betfair. Win bigger. 18 plus BeGambleAware.org. Data provided by TX Odds. Betfair Sportsbook prices compared against leading UK bookmakers on match odds placed between January 1st and March 30th, 2017. Full terms at Betfair.com.
When was the last time you saw the cost of filling your car come down? Well, it just has at your local Vauxhall retailer. On top of our other great offers, Vauxhall are giving away £500 of free fuel with a new car or van at their sales event between the 28th of April and the 7th of May. Just go to your local Vauxhall retailer or search Vauxhall sales event. Simple. On selected models across the range, register by the 31st of May at participating retailers from the 28th of April to the 7th of May. £500 on a prepaid debit card. Full T's and C's apply. See vauxhall.co.uk/sales event.
Ann Davis?
Yeah?
Winston Wolfe. You were on your way to work when you got whacked from behind.
Yes. It was horrible.
Well, I know someone who put you out of your misery. Here they are now.
Taxi for Ann.
If you can't drive your car after an accident, Direct Line are the only insurers who will get you a taxi and recover your car. Now it's time you disappeared. We don't want to be late, do we?
Car recovery and a taxi to continue your journey after an accident. Can your car insurance do that? Comprehensive cover required. Taxi booked to one destination within the UK. Terms and conditions apply.
It's the competition that football dreams are made of. The competition in which Davids can vanquish Goliaths and underdogs can have their day. It's the FA Cup and it's live on TalkSport and TalkSport 2.
This is why we love the FA Cup!
Hear all of the magic of the FA Cup live on TalkSport and TalkSport 2 with TradePoint, with 290 stores nationwide, open early till late, 7 days a week. Find your nearest counter at tradepoint.co.uk.
The Two Mics, simulcast across the UK on TalkSport and Talk Radio.
Today you and I are not the same. You say you like the sun, I like the rain. So before we go, do it all again. You better catch your own train.
There's quite a few remarks on the Facebook page.
Yeah,
of course,
certainly are.
If you'd like to go there and watch the Porky
Yeah.
quiz again,
Yes.
because it will be remaindered there
Yeah.
for the rest of time.
Yes.
You can go and watch it. Lots of people saying heavyweight plank. Some people saying that thinking aloud. Punch drunk is another one.
Well, this one here from Nico, I take issue with this, right? This guy says, Porky, you absolute nutter plank. Do some research next time. You're an embarrassment to the quiz.
Yeah.
Now, can I just remind you, Nico, and I'd like to know a bit more about you. What does your thing say here? Oh, come on, you Spurs, right?
He's a Spurs fan, then.
He says he works hard. Do you really work hard? You don't work as hard as me, pal. Let me tell you this. I have probably done now something like over 150 quizzes.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That means I've had to research and brush up my information on 150 different subjects.
It's not easy.
So, Nico, you push off, pal, OK? Any more insulting remarks from you, you will be banned from listening to TalkSport.
Steve the cabbie says, I disagree with the half-point nonsense. I've been gerrymandered as I predicted 2 out of 10. No half points, MG.
Yeah.
He doesn't like the fact that I've given you half a point. I thought you deserved a half a point for getting the year right.
Exactly.
Michael says, loaf-faced gerrymandering oath.
Yeah.
I presume he's directing that at me.
Yes, that's right, he is.
There's an awful lot of good tweets here. One from David, who says it's a picture of him with the champs, and it's a picture of him in his much younger days
Incredible.
with Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, and George Foreman.
Absolutely amazing picture.
Yeah.
Well done. It's almost as good as our picture with Rod Stewart.
It is almost.
Talk about legendary icons.
Not that good. We actually, when I was on holiday on that sailing trip, I told you I went down to St. Lucia. We actually met George Foreman down there, and it was during one of his periods when he was retraining to come back. And all he had done up until then was make the George Foreman grill.
That's right,
you know? But he was a lovely guy. We met him. He was at a beach bar.
I think he came in here, didn't he? Didn't we do him in here?
I think we did.
Yeah.
But this was way back in the 80s. You know, when he'd already given up boxing once before he made his first comeback.
He was still
and he was down there training.
50.
Yeah, but he stopped for a while.
Sure.
And he was a terrific guy. And my sister was with me, and he took loads of pictures with her.
Yeah.
It was great.
Good.
Very nice guy.
It says here, I think Porky's taken one too many shots to the head. So Baz suggesting I didn't get it right.
Yeah.
And then old Ben here says, I'm actually going to the fight tomorrow, Porky, and I have to say my eyes will be firmly placed on Will Amina in between rounds.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
here's one from Carl. It says, Porky, Bruno fights a bum. I'm not scared of Tyson. And classic Wilhelmina Klitschko.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, great
That
effort,
one may have
Porky.
some
Second
legs.
set of questions slipped in after question one. That is obvious. Superb all-round boxing knowledge. You see, what the clever people, that's from Steve, right? Steve Hull. And what the clever people pick up on is that I qualify the questions you give me with extreme knowledge of the subject, and then, of course, your poisonous question doesn't fall into the remit of my knowledge.
You basically embroider the answer around the actual question,
No,
so you give me
no.
lots of information which the questioner is not asking for.
Yeah. Look at this here.
I mean,
from-
I would say this is probably the most straightforward quiz that's ever been done.
Oh, you admit now that all the others are not straightforward,
no, I'm not
don't
saying
you?
that. No,
so all the others
no,
were
that's
bent.
not what I'm saying.
Bent and
That's
corrupted.
that's not what I said. What I'm saying is that
Yeah.
this one is probably the most straightforward quiz questions that I've ever seen.
Now, this luxury Lizzie lady, right, who
Yes.
always seems to have a lot to say for herself.
Well, she's a good friend of yours, isn't she?
Well, you know, maybe she used to be. I would throw in... Hang on, I've lost
Well,
this. She says...
Are you saying she's not a friend of yours now?
No, I'm not. I'm being a bit... what am I being? A bit... what's the word?
I don't know. Disingenuous.
No, I'm not being disingenuous. I'm being satirical.
Oh, right.
So she says, Porky, I would throw in the towel if I was you because you did no homework. She actually says no bloody homework. So she's, resorting to profane language.
A bit of profanity.
By way of a change. Well, I'm sorry. I'm not taking any insults from you, Liz. So, just forget it.
By way of a what?
Hey?
By way of a what?
By way of a change.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure what she means by that.
I don't know either.
But I mean,
O'Hara.
people like her get on my nerves.
Ah.
You put yourself under the spotlight. You put yourself, on the line. You
Yeah.
put your brain on the line. You put your body on the line.
Yeah.
And what do you get?
Yeah.
Out of insults.
Exactly right. Philomena apparently was a movie starring Judi Dench and Steve Coogan.
Oh, was it?
There's a picture of it there, isn't it? Somebody sent us that.
Yes. I don't like...
I don't remember that.
I don't know anything about it. Right, why has Porky been eating wallpaper paste again? It showed up in the quiz, says Phil.
Yes.
Oh, dear.
One from Guna who says, Porky's been exposed. Pathetic in the quiz when he isn't cheating and typing.
Yeah, well, people got to understand the amount of effort that goes into just getting to air, let alone
Well, exactly.
specialist subjects.
I mean,
you know what I mean?
anyone having to answer any kind of 10 questions like that under the spotlight, it's very difficult to do. I've always said that.
Of course it is.
Yeah. Nico says, Porky can be so mean at times. How can he ban me from listening to Talk Sport?
Yeah, well, you are banned, okay?
You can't ban him.
Yes, you can. We've got detector vans, and they drive around places where people who shouldn't be listening are listening.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, we have ways of making you stop listening, okay?
Maybe that's the van that's in your street. It's broken down.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Anyway, Trevor said, please, no film questions in heavyweight quiz tonight. Whatever the subject of Porky quiz, there's always a film questions unfair.
Yeah.
Now, you've admitted tonight that you thought it was the most straightforward quiz.
That's not an admission.
In itself,
No, that's not an
in
admission.
itself is an admission
No.
that for 2.5
Not
years
true.
now I've been facing
Incorrect.
quizzes
No.
where the questions have been gerrymandered and it's been a completely unfair contest
No.
between me, put on the spot, and you, armed with all the
Not
information
true.
in the world,
No.
to throw a curveball at me when
No.
I start getting good.
Not correct.
That's
no.
a total admission.
All I'm saying to you is that having read out many questions and many different quizzes to you over the years, that one, I would have to say, is about the most straightforward I've ever seen, which does not make any judgment on any of the others. It just means that all of those questions had very straightforward answers. They couldn't be misconstrued. They could not be in any way misunderstood. And anyone with a bit of knowledge about heavyweight boxing champions would have known the answers to them.
You make me want to throw up.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, you know where the bucket is.
Yeah.
Al says he's checking in from Dallas.
Oh, yeah? Dallas, Texas.
Stephen says he's checking in from St Albans. I quite like it when people do this, but we
Yes.
haven't got an awful lot of people saying exactly where they are. Dagestan, says Mark, but I don't think he's checking in from there. I think he's just laughing about the fact that we mentioned it.
Oh.
Loads of people said Watford, by the way.
Yes.
If you'd be able to read, maybe that should be one of your things. If you could read Facebook while you're on, a lot of people are actually giving you the answers.
Well, I don't do that because that would be cheating, wouldn't it?
Well,
You
it
know?
would be, and you
Watford,
certainly don't want to do that.
Dartford, I mean, they're very close to each other, by the way.
Not at all.
They-
Dartford
they
is
cer-
nowhere
they
near
cer-
Watford.
They certainly are.
It's on a different side of the Thames.
They certainly are.
Dartford's
Now
in
then.
South London. Watford is in Hertfordshire.
Now then, what does the Weekend Herald?
The Weekend Herald's another warm-up show for us.
Yes.
That's 11 o'clock kick-off, I
Certainly
believe.
does, yeah.
Massive weekend for the Premier League.
There's another Old Firm derby, of course,
There
this
is an
weekend.
Old Firm derby.
To look forward to.
In fact, I believe we'll be talking about that because that's tomorrow, Saturday.
That's right, absolutely.
At Ibrox.
Yeah.
We won't be going to that one in a private jet.
No.
Because we're working down here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to make Goodison on Sunday afternoon,
Really?
actually.
You got something else on?
Well, I got a family situation this weekend, and it's
Yeah.
unfair to say no.
Well,
we'll
to
leave
be
you
honest,
all to it.
Sunday's a good day to be by the TV because
Yeah.
you get not only the Everton-Chelsea game,
Mm.
which a lot of people are saying is going to be tougher for Chelsea than the Tottenham-Arsenal game
Well,
is going to be for Tottenham.
8 consecutive victories at Goodison.
Yeah.
And in 5 of them, believe it or not, how about this? Sorry, in 3 of them, they scored more than 3 goals.
But don't forget the corresponding fixture, which you did go to at Stamford Bridge.
Horrendous.
Was 5-0 to Chelsea.
Well, that's why I think karma might intervene and Everton might get their revenge.
Right.
What
and then
I was gonna
after that, it's like the Tottenham Arsenal. Isn't
Well, look, obviously you always put your own team as a first priority,
Yes.
right? But the difficulty of travelling 200 miles to see your team play is that although I'd want to get back as well on Sunday because Monday's a bank holiday.
Yes.
And I think you could be all sorts of trouble.
I don't know. I mean,
travelling on
I've
bank
been
holiday.
reading that certainly South Eastern Railways
Exactly,
have got
yeah.
all sorts of engineering works
Yeah,
going on over the
that's
weekend.
exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So you want to go back. So the difficulty is, although you could perhaps, because Everton's game obviously will finish around about 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
That's when the other game starts. You might even be able to watch half an hour of the first half in the lounge at Goodison.
Yes.
But then obviously have to close the ground.
So then they shut it, do they?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't stay there all day, can
Yeah.
you? And then you're missing the rest of it. Now, I know that your own team's got to be a priority, but I've often said in defence of the armchair football fan, you get a fantastic service on TV if there's 2 games back-to-back like that.
Back-to-back, yes.
And you see inside the dressing
Yeah.
room and you see all the replays and all that. And I'm not diminishing, the appeal of live football. That's why I've bought another season ticket for Everton next season. I will go as often as I can.
Yeah.
And if our working schedules accommodate it, more
It's not
games
easy.
than I've been to this season.
Yes. You've done quite well this year, though. You've done quite a few.
I've done not bad. It would just, I'm afraid, be too selfish for me to go on Sunday, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I might still get up on Sunday and say, no, I'm going to be brutal to
Suddenly
the family
be
and
full
I'm
of
going.
the joys
yeah.
of spring.
Yeah.
And also it might depend on the weather as well.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
might
it's been
do,
very
yeah.
chilly.
Yeah.
It's meant to be, the May Day first bank holiday, which is meant to be pretty nice.
Indeed.
It looks like for me, I'm going to be going out and buy some wood to burn in the fireplace, which I didn't think I'd be doing.
In the fireplace inside?
Inside, yeah.
Wood-burning
Yeah,
stoves, you see.
Because
That's the
most of the
problem.
wood we had ran
Yeah,
out
yeah.
about 2 weeks ago. But
Yes.
last weekend I got some
Yeah,
more,
yeah.
or the weekend before rather. I'm going to have to get some more this weekend, I think.
Okay.
So that's my plan.
Okay.
This is Talk Sport.
Okay.